Go. Day
Sweet.
2 of
the days of Votann.
the weeks of Votann.
Oh, weeks of Votann, eh? Okay.
The week of Votann, yeah. So this is day 2. If you tuned in yesterday, we had a video going over all the mechanics, some of the new rules with the Votann. Like really strong. Like,
Yeah.
What's your first impression with what we went over yesterday?
Judgment is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
They are very slow, but they're tanky. Like legit, little short guys with armor, impossible to move most of the time.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's really fun, and I got to watch a game yesterday.
Yeah.
Anthony played our buddy Matt, and the first impression when I went to the board, he was spamming bikes. Anthony was spamming a bunch of bikes, 3 units of 6. I looked at the table and I was like, it's all Votann. It's just like an entire board of Votann. He had 2 of the tanks as well, and then he had berserkers coming in, and not exactly the type of list I would have run, but it was so many of them. It's overwhelming to see how many models are on the board. They're so cheap. You can bring 18 bikes for 500 points.
Yeah. They're fast though. Like I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like when you think Votann, you don't think I have control of the whole board.
Yeah.
You think I'm slowly moving up. So that's another thing. That's like so many different ways to play Votann. It's cool.
I also want to go back because I think we were a little premature on the leagues. I was like all in on the toughness one and the spamming the 4-up invuln, the 5-up invuln. I had a chance this morning to play the capping objective league, which league is that?
The Thurian.
Is it the higher Thurian league?
What's it? It's the Greater Thurian League.
The Greater Thurian League. So the units counting, models counting as 2 for as far as capping objectives. So that was great, but more than the thing that I like the most for that mechanic, counting as 1 more. When you have 1 token on a person counting as 2 judgment is so strong. And I think this is one of my favorite right now. I think that's my favorite. I changed my mind from the 5-up invuln, 4-up invuln to that one.
I'm still sticking with the Usur League, or whichever one it is, with the +1 toughness.
Yeah, you like that.
I like vehicles. I like being able to like blitz my opponent, be fast, and just be in your face. Like toughness 8, Sagatars, and toughness 9, fortresses.
Toughness 9 fortress is hard to say no to. But let's get in. Today we're going to talk about each unit. We didn't go, so that was that part of the codex. We're going to go into each unit now. We're going to talk about their data sheets. We're going to see how they synergize with certain leagues, as well as warlord traits, relics, all that kind of stuff. This should be fun. So let's get into it.
Let's get to the crunch.
Let's start with the first guy. He's an HQ. You want to start with him?
All right, we got Uthar the Destined. He is the only named character in the League of Votann Codex.
For now.
He's part of the Greater Thurian League, which is, of course, your favorite league right now. He's your basic, almost like the standard Greater Carl, the Super Carl.
Yeah.
I call it the Super Carl and regular Carl. The only thing that really makes him stand out, he has a sort of better stat line in terms of weaponry.
Yeah.
He has a rule where he the Destined, where any damage he takes becomes 1.
Yeah.
So say you shoot a last cannon at him, or say you power fist a guy, or thunderhammer him, all that damage becomes 1. So 6 wounds in there. He's going to be quite a bit hard to take down.
Yeah.
But the key thing that he has is Ancestral Fortune.
Yeah.
So once per battle round, you can select him or a unit that's within 6 inches of him, so that you can change the roll of a hit, a wound, or even a damage roll or save roll to a 6. This synergizes really well with Judgment, in which turn 1, you feel like your opponent you see your opponent, give that ability to, what was it, the Land Fortress?
Yep.
That magma rail cannon gonna penetrate something.
Automatic 6s.
Automatic 6 to hit means automatic 6 to wound, as long as they have a judgment though. So make sure you keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Delete it. Delete something.
Done. It synergizes really well with, especially the rail, what do they call the magna
rail
rails.
cannon.
The automatic 6, you're doing max damage. It's gonna hurt a lot, and that's a great combo to have. He's also T5.
Yeah, true.
Which is nice. I mean, you don't have to be so worried about if he does get caught in a corner or gets into melee. He can handle himself.
Honestly, usually in named characters, I really don't pay too much heed to.
Yeah.
But this guy, he is, once per battle round, like, if you have the land fortresses and you have multiple of them, you're gonna nuke something. Like, 1 unit is just gonna die. If it doesn't die and it's like a blob, it's going to suffer morale, or you're going to force your opponent to spend 2 CP to make sure they don't break.
Yeah.
Like, he's a very supporty captain, Carl, and I think he's worth the 20 or 30 point upgrade from the regular Super Carl, or the regular Greater Carl, whatever you want to call it.
You can take 2 though, right? Because you can upgrade it, because he's named, you can take a regular one, and then you can take him as well if you really wanted to. But you're exactly right. You can basically nuke one, like every turn, you're going to put that automatic 6, which is going to be a wound, and just nuke something off the board with your Magna Rail. And that's pretty strong. You can't say it's not. And
if you're in trouble, of course, you can use it to augment your saves. Say you're getting shot by something that's really powerful, like, I don't know, a last cannon, and your Hecaton Land Fortress is it's on its last legs. Spend that thing, if you haven't used it, to roll a 6, you're protected. Yeah. And in close combat, you're probably not going to want to get this guy in close combat, but like I said, he's toughness 5. He can handle himself in close combat. His melee weapon, he's hitting on, his strength goes up to 6, with the +1. AP -4, so he's going to be even murking Marines, even with the Armor of Contempt. 2 damage, but 2 mortal wounds on 6s. The proccing the mortals again with this army, like the 6s do so much more damage. He can delete stuff because he has 5 attacks. And that plays in really well with what he can do with your army, because you can just kind of like put him, like you said, put him on behind a tank, start giving that order every turn. You're nuking things off, and if people try to deep strike or do something to him, he can handle himself for a little bit. Until other units can come and help him out, I guess. Exactly. He's also a Carl, so he has built-in reroll 1s to hit for core, and I believe just core units and bikes. And then, of course, he has his ability, which is basically a Chapter Master reroll. Once per command phase, give it to someone. They're going to be rerolling all to hits. So if you want to put him beside a unit of Thunderkin, or not Thunderkin, Hearthkin, to just shoot something off the board, or give it to your Hearthguard, just going to mulch things in ranged or melee, dead. Just really good. So that's how you would use him? You would just use him as like you're nuking, like just put him with a unit, but would you deep strike him in with, like, would you put him with another unit going up the board? Would you put him with like Hearthguard maybe? I think he's more of I play these characters as support, similar to how I play Space Marines. They just sit in the back, or they move up with the army. Kind of like a Farseer, just buffing things up? In case he needs to get into combat, he's suited for it, but he's just there to augment your army to become even more deadly. Like, he's a force multiplier, which you really need to keep alive. Yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just trying to see how else would you use this guy, because there's the obvious ways to use him. But overall, how would you think? Like, pretty good, right? Like, that's a nice name character to have. Start the codex off with this dude. He's good. So we give him up an A-OK. If you're taking Greater Thurin League, I think you're just going to take it. Yeah, you have to. I mean, there's no reason not to. It's what, 20 more points? If you kit it, it's like 30 more points if you take a bare bones, like a high Carl. But if you want to like give him like an awesome weapon that's not as good as his, it's going to be an extra 10 points. So that's why I'm saying like 20 point difference. 20 to 30 point difference, depending on what you want to kit the base worth it. Okay, so let's move on to our next character. A lot of people saying he's really good. Grimnir? Is that how you pronounce it? Grimnir? Grimnir? I just call it, he's the Dwarven Space Wizard. He's a wizard, yeah. So he has a decent stat line. It's a nice model. First of all, I want to say it's my favorite model out of what we've seen so far. It just looks cool, and he has the 2. What are they? Like, I guess like kind of like, what's her name? Has those 2, what's her name? Celestine has those 2 things you can plink off first, so you'll have some extra wounds. So the way I see it, like, because a lot of this is based off of like Norse mythology, right? I see him like Odin type of, like an Odin type of character. And the 2 cogs beside him, which they're like corvs. They're like his ravens. Like Corvus, raven type of thing. I play Raven Guard, so I know what ravens are. The corvs, So they're like his 2 buddies, like Hugin and Munin for Odin, when he's like walking around being chill. That makes sense. And he's, of course, he's got a cool model, but Tactical Rock, he's really like compensating for himself, the height. Here come the short jokes. You knew they were coming. That was your first one. It took a while, so I'm going to give you a clap for that. Yeah. It took a while to make the short joke. But there's going to be more, though. This of course. I'm sure this codex is pretty short. It's a short codex, small. Short amount of models, so you might as well make the short jokes. So come on, let's tell us a little bit about him, because I know you like the Space Wizards.
He likes space magic, right?
He's just a regular. He has a regular stat line for a character. Nothing really impressive there.
Yeah.
He does have a 4+ invuln save. What makes him interesting is whenever he suffers mortal wounds from perils, his crows will take them rather than himself.
And they have a 4+ all against that.
Do
they have any saves against mortals?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's okay. So they just take it. They tank it for him.
Yeah, they're crows. They take it for the team.
That's cool.
Another thing that he has is it has an aura where core units within 6 inches of him add 1 to the combat attrition test taken. So if they're under half strength, they're only going to be really rolling 1s to run away rather than 1s and 2s.
All right.
He can cast 2 per turn and then deny once a turn as well. So typical Psyker stat line and shenanigans. Their spells are pretty good though for Votann.
Okay.
The one that I really like is...
Let's talk about the spells because I think this is the only caster in the entire book, right?
Yeah. My favorite spell, of course, is the one where he can make a unit obsec. I'm one of those guys who just loves making things obsec because name of the game's objectives. The Votanns, don't get me wrong, are fast with vehicles, but once you take the vehicles away, once the bikes are, out of action or tied up, the army does move slowly. So being able to give obsec to, say, a unit of Hearthguard, all of a sudden, now they're sitting on objective. If you're doing Great Arthurian League or if you're doing other leagues, they're going to be like just sitting there and just holding it down, contesting against your opponent.
And just making, especially if you take the Great Arthurian League where it counts as double, like you said, obsec is going to make that suit like really strong.
Oh, sorry, my bad. It's not.
What happened? What did you do?
That was not I'm mixing it up with a warlord trait there.
What happened?
I'm mixing that up with a warlord trait.
Oh, it's a warlord trait. Okay.
So aside from that, they have a really good spell that generates them another CP a turn, an extra one.
That.
The key thing is, it does not interfere with the limit of you gaining another CP elsewhere.
Right.
So, for example, if you're doing psychic interrogation and you get that off, and you get this spell off, they don't, stop each other. So you can get one.
You can do both, yeah.
Yeah, you can get one from the spell, and you can get one from somewhere else.
Yeah. So there's a lot of CP farming, I guess.
Another one that they have that's really cool is Fortify. Choose a league core or character unit within 12 inches. Give them +1 toughness, and they also have a 6 Feel No Pain now.
That's really nice. Like with the bikes, that'd be really good. Letting them go up front, giving them the +1 toughness, and the 6 Feel No Pain is a lot better than you think when you have these multiple wound models, a big unit of bikes. And they're 3 wounds apiece and toughness. What is it? 6 on them with the +1.
Toughness 6 with the +1.
With the +1, and they're -1 to hit. So survivability goes up a lot. Are they going to be as survivable as getting the invuln 5+ invuln, and then you give them this would be a 5+, 6+? No, they're not going to be as survivable. They're not going to be as survivable, but you have other things with that. When you're taking the Great Arthurian League, you're going to be able to be double the amount of units. So 6 bikes count as 12. You can make them obsec. You can give them +1 toughness. There's a lot of things you can do with this, and that is a great spell to cast. What is it? Fortify.
Fortify. It's only on a 6.
Absolutely.
And I'd rather put them on a unit of Hearthguard though.
Yeah.
Like I just like -1 damage on the Hearthguard when they get attacked.
Yep.
So turning damage 2 weapons into damage 1, and then getting 6 Feel No Pain with that.
Yeah.
They're not going to move. And did you know that if, for example, your bikes, they only have a 4+ save base. If you keep them near a Carl, the Carl actually gives a 6-inch aura of 5+ invuln for range attacks.
Wow.
So that means you're
just for range, yeah.
Only for range, but if you really are struggling to hide, or if your Carl is up that high, up that far, your bikes and infantry will get a 5+ against shooting, which is pretty good.
That is good. That throws up their survivability, and if there's lots of combos you can do here. I know a lot of people were asking about what your favorite spell was out of all these spells. What would you take every time? And a few people were asking that. For me, I like Fortify. I think it's really, really good. He can take 2 spells, right?
Yes.
I think it's up in the air based on what you want to do with your army, what league you're running. But what's your second favorite one here? Because I think we both agree Fortify is a must take. I think it's amazing.
You know how Space Marines have Null Zone?
Yeah.
And you've seen how it works. It's an aura, 6-inch. Completely gets rid of all invulns for you and your opponent.
That's right.
They have one that you just put on your opponent. The best thing about this,
of course they do,
is you don't even need line of sight. You can keep, you don't need line of sight for this.
That's ridiculous now, come on.
If you're getting bogged down by, for example, Scarab Occult Terminators for 1,000 Suns, have your Grimnir move up, hide behind a building, cast it, no line of sight needed, take away their invulnerable save.
That's crazy.
It is a bit expensive on 8 to cast it.
Okay, that makes sense.
But being able to have that option and being able to be safe with that.
What's the range on that? Is that 18?
12.
Okay.
12 is, it's important that you don't need line of sight though. Like hide behind a building and be like,
it's huge, yeah.
I see someone there, those Scarab Occult, no more invuln.
Do they have connections with Eldar? Like, how do they have that kind of psychic power?
Eldar and dwarves.
They don't even need vision. Okay, well, that is really good. I love null zone. Invulns are huge. Taking away a unit's invuln and not affecting your own that's big.
Yeah.
That's really big. So
no more having to send your librarian in as like a ticking time bomb with null zone on them, just like to wipe them out.
it's like Hex, basically. Like, you know, they used to. Do they still have Hex?
I wouldn't know.
Thousand Suns? I gotta check.
You're the Thousand Suns guy.
Yeah, I haven't played them in like 5 months, but it's basically like that. You can just hex a unit and get rid of their invuln, go in there and destroy them. So that's a really good spell. Is that called Null Vortex?
Yes, Null Vortex.
Okay. The ripping off the null zone there, eh?
Yep,
okay, so yeah, I like that. That's probably my second favorite. I agree with you. You want to talk about one more psychic power. I think you were talking about it was called Grudge your friend? What was it called?
Grudgepire?
Yeah, that's the one. The Witchfire one.
Ooh, that is a very low cast on a 4.
It goes off on a 4. It's basically an auto cast, but 2d6.
And add the number of judgment tokens they have.
So that could be some, mortal wounds.
It could be. Oh, that's even better. If the model is destroyed.
It's gone, yeah.
It's just one model.
Just get rid of it.
Not even mortal wounds, just I don't like that Terminator there, or I don't like that something there with the leadership. It's gone. It's gonna hurt against orcs.
You just judgment plus the number of judgment. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, the psychic powers, like they're not a psychic based army.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty good support things you can take. And overall, I think is he a must take? We can talk about this tomorrow because we're going to actually tier these guys out tomorrow. But like right now, just a little sneak peek. What do you think? Like, where do you have him?
You're always gonna need Psychers, honestly.
So you would include him?
Honestly, you're gonna need those wizards.
He just gives those little buffs. Like the army's so tough. The army has so much toughness. It has so much durability. You can just sit on objectives. You're pretty you're slow overall. The movement and everything is slow. There's things that you can do to make the bikes they can pre-move. You can advance automatic 6. There's things that you can do that can get certain units out farther. But overall, you're slow and you need to be methodical with what you do.
Yes.
So I think a Psyker buffing certain units is a must take. You're going to need this guy, and he's a good model. I'm
also going to take at least one because it helps also with if you want to do psychic interrogation or if you want to deny your opponent. It's always good to have options when playing. At that point, though, if you're going to take him to do psychic interrogation or ritual, is he worth it at that point? If he's going to be your only psyker and you're just using him to plant in the middle of the board to do get your psychic ritual, even though it's only 3 turns, you're still tying him up for 3 turns. Yeah. That he's not going to be able to do anything else except do that action. So at that point, I don't know if I would take him for that, but I don't know. You're the psychic guy. I wouldn't take him just to do psychic actions. If that's why you're taking him, I think that's a little too expensive. Well, it's not you're taking just for that. You're taking it as an option. It's an option. You want to have. The more options you have, the more options you can trick your opponent. You're all of a sudden you're taking psychic ritual for some reason. They'll be like, oh no, they're taking psychic ritual. Now I got to plan ahead. I got to plan around that. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. The more options you have, the more flexible you can be. This army is rigid. We want to try to make ways to make them flex. Make them flexible, do multiple things. Yeah. And we're play testing them so much right now. Excuse me. We are playing games every day basically with this army and just seeing the different things you can do with them. But like you said, until we start actually seeing them getting played in the tournament scene, seeing what people are doing, how they get tested, it's up for grabs really what's going to be the most effective. I can't wait for our Votamm's army, right? Yeah, we're going to have a fun one. I can't wait for that one. Very, very tanky. All right, going to the champion now. Okay. Not a named. Is he a named character? No, this is the equivalent to the lieutenant.
Yeah.
He allows for reroll wound rolls of 1.
T5 is into that Terminator armor for dwarves. It's more stumpy armor. It's shorter arms, but yeah, great toughness, and he does have teleport.
Yep.
So you can put him in there with your Hearthguard. And I don't think he's like a must take though.
No.
I don't think it's somebody you want to include for, what are you getting? Reroll once to wound. And what else does he do?
He's really supposed to be a blender character.
Okay.
Also, as an aside, you have to choose either between teleporting or giving him an invulnerable save.
You gotta choose.
Yeah, this applies to many things in this codex. So a lot of the Hearthguard units, you need to choose either between giving your leader, by the way, the invuln save and +1 to its wound characteristic, or being able to deep strike. Same with the call also. The call is the same thing as well. So if you want to have him be a melee blender and get him to combat fast, you're going to have to give up your invulnerable save so he just, can teleport. Or the other way is you give him the invuln save with +1 to wound, +1 to its wound, but he's going to not be fast. He's going to have to ride along a land fortress or march behind the units.
And you can't bring him in from reserve or deep strike.
No, you got to think of other ways.
But he's more survivable.
Yeah.
At that point.
This character, he looks good on paper as just a bully character, a brute. He's very tanky with toughness 5, 5 wounds, and his melee weapons do hurt. There is one relic that you can give him that I believe does mortal wounds. And he even has an ability where he charges at you. If you roll over your opponent's toughness, you deal D3 mortal wounds. So we can already see where this is going. He's just there to beat people to a stump. The problem with that is his buff, the reroll 1s to wound, it only applies to Hearthguard. So now he's already locked into being that dude with the Hearthguard.
He's support for them,
But with Judgment now, you're going to mainly proc things on the hit roll. So this is only going to be for whenever you don't proc that, Judgment, and you're just going towards to wound.
Right.
He seems like he's already not filling in that much of a help as a support character now. If it were me, I would take a unit of Hearthguard with the Carl to give him, full rerolls if he's a super Carl, or just reroll 1s to hit. At least then I can keep trying to fish for more Judgment.
You can fish,
rather than, fishing it out and then all of a sudden have to pay the extra points to just see what I can do to continue wounding.
Yeah, and he does give rerolls 1 to wound?
Only to Hearthguard.
To Hearthguard only, yeah. So, he hits like a truck. He hits as hard as dreadnoughts.
Yep.
D3 plus 3 damage each time an attack is made with this weapon. Subtract 1, so it's basically like a thunder hammer. Times 2 strength, which is hitting on strength 10. He's a beast. Weapon skill 2.
So he's hitting on 3s with that mass hammer, and this can be upgraded to a relic for 1 command point. I believe it does mortal wounds. I believe on a 6 or something. But let me just double check right now.
So let's go into the relics. Let's check these relics.
It is called the Exactor. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, on an unmodified hit roll of 6, the target suffers D3 plus D3 mortal wounds.
What?
So when I say he's a blunder, he is meant for that.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. That is crazy.
If you're planning to take him, you're probably going to take that relic with him. Getting him to combat though, that's a whole nother story. So
okay, but he changes the damage into mortals on the 6s. Because those attacks end, right? He doesn't take that plus the actual attack.
Yes.
So he just converts those into mortals. That's pretty good because you remove invuln saves.
Yeah, he's a blender. Great. So he also, by the way, this reroll 1s to wound aura is meant. He also benefits from it himself. Because it just says I'm here. Hearthguard, which he has that keyword.
So he rerolls himself.
Yeah, it does not say core, so he gets that reroll 1 to wound.
That's good. That's pretty good.
But once again, with that relic though, you're just waiting for Judgment. You're waiting for that 6 or 5 or 4, depending on how many Judgment points they have.
To do those D3 plus 3 mortals.
So it's crap. At that point, what's the point of the reroll 1s? Unless you're really have a huge unit of them, of Hearthguard.
He's just another option, I think. I just see him as a situational kind of option. If you're running a lot of Hearthguard, you're probably going to want to take some of these.
He's a cruise missile.
He is.
But he's not really fast.
No.
Is the only issue.
So, it's situational. I think we can definitely have reasons to bring him. But let's move on to one that is kind of up in the air on where he can be, the Iron Master.
I like this model, honestly. He's a very good support character. You're gonna notice I like a lot of the support characters to augment my main force.
Yeah.
My thing about him is he can be upgraded to the Super Iron Master.
Yep.
Once per battle round, if I use a War Gear Stratagem, I can reduce the cost of it by 1.
Wow.
So if I need to do site-to-site transportation, which is a 2 CP stratagem, if it's used on a non-character, it becomes 1. Okay. I can keep augmenting that. If I feel like giving my Hearthguard unit that has the Shield Crest keyword, transhuman, which is what they have for range attacks, I can rather make it cost 2 CP, make it cost 1 CP.
Wow.
You're going to get a lot of savings for that, and it's only a 25-point upgrade if you take him.
Okay.
He also can repair your units, so repair vehicles or even exo armor units, but exo frame. But it's mainly the vehicle thing that's really important.
Is it the standard D3?
Yep.
Restore D3?
Standard D3.
Can you upgrade him to do the automatic 3?
That's a Warlord trait.
That's a Warlord trait, okay.
But that Warlord trait is pretty good itself.
You can take a Warlord trait on him to do the automatic, so basically he'll just heal a tank or your fortress, automatic 3 per turn, instead of having to roll your D3 to see how much you repair it. It's always good to have, but now that CP is so expensive, is that a Warlord trait you're going to take? Probably not.
That's only part 1.
Okay.
It comes with part 2.
Oh.
Part 2 is once per battle round. When a failed saving throw is for a vehicle or exo frame model, and if he's within range of that vehicle, within a 6-inch distance, you can ignore it.
Okay. So take that Warlord trait.
So that if you see, what can be good for that saving throw? Last cannon comes at your dude.
Yep.
Protect it.
You fail 1, or playing Tau and you get a railgun to the face.
We even get a save from that? From the Hammerhead? That's interesting, though.
From the Hammerhead? Well, you can auto ignore it.
But you can't make the save, though. It's impossible.
But it says you can ignore. Anthony wants to chime in.
There's a way.
There's a way for these guys.
So there's a way to save against the railhead.
How?
It's basically, if you're in cover and they have armor contempt, your 2-up becomes a 1-up, so a -6. It becomes a 5.
But if you can ignore the wound, if you fail, can I just remove 1 die because I ignore that, and that's what the rule says. So even though it's not savable, you can still take 1 away, right?
Technically, you're right, because you fail to save anyways, because you can't, you're rolling a 7, it's impossible, so you fail it. Yeah. You're right.
Yes, when you're right, you're right.
So that Hammerhead, I don't think you'll suffer the damage, but you'll suffer the mortal wounds from.
You'll suffer the mortal wounds, yeah.
But still,
but you could just be like, oh, two railguns came into me, let's just remove 1 of those. You're going to take the mortals because it does wound you, but you don't have to take the damage.
I didn't think of that. That's actually pretty fun.
Hey, GW, write your rules better.
No, that's...
No, I don't know. You can challenge that, but that's the way I see it.
I think that's...
It says ignore a wound.
That's a fun way of doing it. I enjoy that.
So even though you can't save it, it says just ignore it. That's the rule. That's the Warlord trait. That's really strong. Together, those synergize really well together. You can ignore 1 big thing on your, especially on a fortress, taking 12 wounds to it, and just ignoring 1 of those is huge. Plus, you get to heal him 3 automatically. Yep. Yeah, that's a great Warlord trait.
And then the other part of him, he's not done yet.
Oh my God.
He can give +1 to hit to a vehicle.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
he's Father Pharaohs as well.
Yep, your land fortress hitting on 2s.
Wow.
Oh man.
So I like this guy already because I like taking vehicles.
Yep, and I think if I were to do Votann, I'm going to take a vehicle heavy army, lots of land fortresses because they're really beautiful.
Cool. Yeah,
they're strong.
And he has some robots with him.
The robots are just there, I guess.
Yeah, are they part of the unit or are they separate?
Yes, they're part of the unit.
Okay. I've not looked at this guy enough because he's really good.
From what it looks like, each time this unit uses the repair ability, if it contains 1 or more of these drones, the model that's being repaired gains 1 additional wound. So rather than 3, as we said, the Warlord trait, you get 4.
Wow.
I guess that's good. I mean, it's part of the model anyways, so.
That's pretty good. That's 4. So you're healing 4 automatically. This codex is really good. I like it. I need to buy some dwarfs.
Just make sure you keep those drones alive, because if they start dying off, you're not going to be able to repair that 1 extra wound.
Okay.
So that's the only thing.
Once they're gone, he can repair automatic 3. But when the cog dies, they're done with the extra wound.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. The repair, it's at the end of your movement phase, this unit can repair 1 friendly vehicle or exoframe.
Yeah.
So you can legit stretch out your drones to like reach out vehicles that are very far.
Yeah.
It's not just the model,
It's the unit.
Yeah, the Iron Master. His little drones can like stretch him out.
So he
repair.
can be 6 inches away. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. While your Brockthir Iron Master is giving +1 hit to this Land Raider or Land Fortress, these guys over there healing like very far away.
That's really good. I didn't think of that. And yeah, you're right. It says for unit. So you have three models in that unit?
Yep. Actually, more than that. You have 5 models.
5? Oh yeah, because you have 3 of the ECOG, right?
Yep. And then you have an assistant.
So that's 2, 4, 6. You can stretch this like 8 inches if you really want to. 9 if you count the aura. Wow.
This is fun. It's a very fun way of doing things.
Yeah. So you can literally be buffing a fortress here to get +1, and then this one's injured, so you just stretch out and heal him 4. Wow.
And you can also do actions with the Ironkin assistance for this unit. It can perform actions even if it advanced.
Okay.
It can shoot without the action failing as well.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, if you're doing those primary secondaries where you have to be like on the home base objective in order to like get points for the no man's land, this guy can do that while he's advancing as well. Or there's many things you can do.
Yeah. I like it. I think he's great. Learned a lot of stuff because I didn't read about him too much. You reading up on him, and
I think he's great.
You're right. He's really good.
I think at least one of them you got to take.
Oh yeah.
With those buffs,
sure. Especially if you're going to be running fortresses and like those little buggies, he's going to automatically keep you more alive. On to the calls. We were talking about him a little bit already. You like calls. I like calls. We all like calls. Why not? They give you rerolls. They are. Do they get their own rerolls?
They don't. It's only for course.
Because this one specifically says only for core. So, but these are the ones you want, the reroll ones, and they're only T4 though, so not as strong as your Hearthguard unit, the champion.
Yes.
But they're there for different reasons.
Yep. This guy is. I find him to be more of, like as before. He's not like the other guy, the named character, Uthar. He is more of a supporty guy because he's only toughness 4, but I mean, he offers a lot. He has Grim Efficiency, which also Uthar had, where if you have line of sight of something at your opponent, you're just going to be like, I'm putting him on that list. I see that unit over there, I'm putting him on the list.
Yeah. +1 judgment.
If your opponent decides to start playing very rash during your command phase and exposes himself, on the list. More judgment.
Judgment. And that's important to spam out those judgments and like automatic. What does he do? Like, is it just he just gives judgment to one unit?
Yes.
Wow.
And there are abilities that you can augment, so you can make it like you can give 2 judgments or something like that. This unit is very good. He's an unnamed character, so you can take one of them. If you upgrade him to the high call, you get more benefits. It's 40 more points, but a lot of these books now, you want to like take these benefits of like, you're paying points to upgrade him to become even better.
Wow.
It saves you from having to use like command points, right?
Yep.
So I honestly like the way that GW is doing this type of stuff.
And am I correct by saying the judgment has no range? Or it's just like if I see you, you have judgment?
Yeah, if I see you. If I see a speck in the distance, you're on the list.
That's so good.
I'm guessing you're guessing that's a guardsman squad. I don't know what it is exactly because it's like
I see a foot, judgment.
You know how like the basilisk has like 240-inch range? I'm like, I see that other model on the other side of the other table. I'm like, you got judgment.
That's so good. That's great. That is absolutely insane. You just basically need line of sight, and you can put 1 judgment on a unit per phase.
Yep.
Sorry, per turn.
Basilisk has long range.
Is it turn or phase?
Command phase.
Command phase. Okay. So once a turn, 2 of these guys would be great.
You can only take 1 per detachment.
Per detachment. So if you have 2 detachments, you could take 2, but you can't take the one that's upgraded. Can't do this ability, right?
You can.
So you can take 2 calls in a detachment.
Yes. It specifically says in the rules, like you can take a second call because he's upgraded to like the high call.
High call, yeah.
So super call, it becomes a chapter master. So once per command phase, a unit that's within 6 inches of him, whether it's a character or a core, gets full rerolls.
Okay.
It's typical chapter master stuff. Even costs the same as a chapter master to upgrade. So.
And so that's 2 judgment automatically per turn. You just cast on 2 units. Does it start stacking?
Which ones?
Does that stack? So if I put 1 judgment on that unit there, let's say there's broadsides down the line, I give them 1 judgment this command phase. Next phase, I can give them a 2nd judgment.
Yeah, you can keep doing that.
You can just stack it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nothing's stopping you. It doesn't say like you cannot keep doing this on the same target.
Wow. So that's really good. 2 of these guys, I would say.
So for the Votannic council, the Warlord trait, which you have to pay CP for, but you got to think about that. Each time in your command phase, this Warlord can use the Grim Efficiency ability 1 additional time, but it must select another unit that it did not select. So you can potentially have your Carl do 2 times Grim Efficiency.
They call them Carls.
It's Carl.
Carl. Carl. We need some Carl clips coming up. So, yeah, I agree with you. They're super strong and they're must takes, obviously. We'll get to that tomorrow when we do our tier rankings.
Yep.
But just going into, so would you take an actual league or would you make your own league? Would you go into the league customs?
I would honestly stick with one of the other leagues, like the established ones. Yeah. The Greater Thurin League, once again, you say it's really good. It's for being aggressive, pushing out, and
high counts on judgment on the other units.
I personally like the User League, the one that gives +1 toughness.
I know you like the toughness.
The second part of the is not as good, but just being able to get +1 toughness on everything.
More durable. Don't have to worry about things, We're talking
about Carl here. He's only toughness 4. He becomes toughness 5 now.
Toughness 5, Carl.
And then...
and you said if you did make a league, it would be the League of Legends.
Yeah, League of Legends. I'm going to paint it
There has to be more memes out there. People, please tell us some more funny... what would you name your custom league? He has the League of Legends. We saw one yesterday, Anthony. What was it? We saw...
League of Votann.
The League of Kittens or something. What was it?
Wasn't it Kittens?
No, it was something. It was a cartoon show that with. Anyways, I've seen some funny ones, but post them here because I want more ideas, and they'd be good for like painting challenges too. Like, because I want to see you paint the League of Legends now, Carl.
Just paint it blue and gold. Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. Yeah, we've seen that one. We've seen the Ninja Turtles, but that's not a league. I want the play on words. The League of Turtles.
We'll think about that.
We'll think about it. It's just fun.
So
let's go into the Warriors. These guys are the first of the troops.
Or the first and only. The first and only.
So this is our troop section. One model. Again, very short.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's get into these guys.
Earthkin Warriors.
Anthony ran 3 units of these. Do you agree with that yesterday?
Apparently, yeah.
I saw a bunch of these.
The Hearthguard Warriors?
The Hearthguard? What were you?
No, Hearthkin.
Hearthkin Warriors.
Oh, I played the Hearthguard clip.
Huh?
I played the Hearthguard clip.
You're fired.
You said Hearthguard.
I said Hearthkin Warriors. There's only 1 unit of Warriors.
Anthony, I'm taking your job now, okay?
All right. All right. No, because then Phil has to come back and be on the monitor.
No.
No, Phil's at home. He's sick.
Anyways.
But get better, Phil.
Yep. Hopefully you get better. Take care.
Get better at your job.
Drink some, anyways, Hearthkin Warriors.
Drink the milk. Get better.
They are not really that standout. They're just your basic, they're almost like power armored infantry. Like before Space Marines became 2 wounds, almost the exact same stat line. Except for 5 movement and 4 up safe.
Except if you take yours, they would be toughness 5. They would be a lot more durable. They're only 1 wound apiece. Mm-hmm. Kind of squishy. So, but taking the one I want, the Greater Thurian League, the count is 20. If you take a unit of 10 of these, that's 20 on an objective.
But good luck trying to get them up that far.
Yeah,
with their,
they're slow as you can get. What if you put them in a fortress?
Fortress?
And just move them up. And then throw them on an objective. And they count as 20. And then you make them OPSEC. They are OPSEC.
I got other things I can put. I got other things I would put in that the party bus.
Okay,
honestly.
Well, what's going in the party bus? Now that we're talking here with these guys,
should we just like keep talking about these guys right now?
Let's finish off with what these guys have, and then we'll see what you would like to put in that party bus.
They have 24-inch bolt rifles,
Yep.
strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage.
Yep.
Fairly basic. If
AP
you want
nothing?
to, AP -1.
Okay, so for Marines, AP nothing.
Yep. Aside from that, they could take something called an ion blaster, which is 18-inch, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage.
Not bad.
These weapons are hunter, so they are different from regular weapons. They're not rapid fire or assault.
Yeah.
We mentioned that in our first video there. Do you want to we'll keep going on that?
Yeah, you can check our first video. We talk about hunter weapons. It posted yesterday. If you want to know what hunter weapons are, what they do, just go check that link out. Anthony can post it at the bottom of the of this clip. But yeah, moving on.
They can be taken in 10-man or 20-man squads. So you can either do 10-man bare minimum, 11 points a model.
Yeah.
So they are quite expensive for troop choice.
Yeah.
Like it's 110 points for just 10 dudes who are pretty squishy. Or you can go full blob 20 and just march up the table, yelling harsh language at your opponent, being like, "I'm judging you, da 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 da." But these guys have some stratagems that can really make them annoying.
Okay.
If you decide to take the bolter variant, there's a stratagem where 6s to hit explode for their guns. And then for the ion blaster variant, it's going to be something similar to AdMech, where 6s to wound, I believe, become mortal wounds. I got to double check that. So there are 2 different ways of playing them.
Okay.
Yeah, unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wounds, up to a maximum of 6.
Wow.
So they're getting what AdMech had before.
AdMech, yeah.
Wrath of Mars, which rest in peace, because I see it it's like it got nerfed. But
It did.
so yeah, that's why people are saying they might be AdMech, like the competitor.
You think?
Yes.
Yes, Anthony.
Yeah. Someone is asking, explain judgment tokens as if you were telling someone who doesn't play Warhammer.
Explain judgment tokens to somebody that
Who doesn't know Warhammer.
So you want just like a basic version of what it is. So in 40K, this is a tough one to do. To explain this to somebody, it is a more complex mechanic for a beginner. But basically, you want to put judgment onto another unit to gain better ballistic skill for your unit. So how would you tell a new player that? Explain that.
You want to do it? You want to do yours, you, me, and then we'll do it you and I'll do it. We can just explain our own ways.
Your own way. You go ahead. That's what I'm saying. You do it your way first because you're probably better.
How do I enunciate this?
Enunciation.
So with judgment, it's 6s to hit become auto wound, or a certain number to hit is going to become an auto wound, is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
The way judgment works is whenever one of your model's units dies, your dwarves get a lot more angsty and get angry.
Yeah.
When your opponent successfully does something, you don't like that. You get angry at them. That's basically how it is.
Yeah. So in 40K, you want the first step to shooting a target, you have to roll to hit. So usually you have a ballistic skill of 3. Let's say you're Space Marine, so you'll be hitting on a 3. You need to roll 3 or higher. If you have tokens on them, judgment tokens, you automatically use those as wounds. So if you roll a 6 or with 1 token down, you automatically wound. So you skip the wounding phase basically. So you roll to hit, you roll to wound. When you have tokens on a unit, so 1 token would equal 6s or auto wounds. 2 tokens equal 5s auto wounds. 3 tokens would be 4s with auto wounds. So basically you roll to hit, and then you would roll to wound. You skip that whole rolling to wound phase with tokens. It's the best way I can describe it to a new player.
Yeah.
It's hard to do on the spot this, but
it's a bit difficult.
Yeah. You basically skip the step of rolling to wound. So that's what makes it so strong, is that normally your stats go down. So you have to roll to hit a target, then you have to roll to wound based on your strength and their toughness. So when you have to remove that whole part of the roll, I don't have that whole step of me rolling to wound you is negated, because now any 4 is an automatic wound.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how tough you are. So hopefully that makes sense. It is hard to explain just on the spot like that, but sometimes you just need a visual representation, and it helps a lot. But that's the best way I can say it.
Yeah, honestly, it's just more judgment tokens you have, the more it's going to rely on you getting to the hitting step and just rolling to hit and reaching that certain mark 6, 5, and 4,
Yeah.
based on 1, 2, or 3 tokens, like that, and you completely skip the wounding step. So it does mean that it's going to be easier to. Would it be easier?
It's easier to wound your target because
you're skipping a whole entire step.
You're skipping a whole entire step of wounding. You don't have to wound.
Yeah.
So it's automatic. It's like Hail of Doom. It doesn't matter how many times I'm hitting. It doesn't matter how many times how tough you are. Hail of Doom. If I'm re-rolling all my, I'm guiding a unit and I'm re-rolling 1s and 2s, and then how many 6s are you fishing for? You know how many 6s are going to be there, and then you're boosting the AP. In this situation, you're not boosting AP, but you're just getting auto wounds with tough weapons.
Yes.
It hurts.
And it also is always auto wounding on 6s.
Yeah.
So that procs a bunch of abilities.
Yeah.
For example, we're talking about the Mass Hammer for the End Here Champion. Instantly go to D3 plus 3 if you meet those judgment criteria, like if you get enough judgment tokens.
Yep.
I think that ability is really good for units that have, like good strength.
Yeah.
But if you're fighting against like very tough models, for example, you're fighting against something that's toughness 8 with these strength 4 guns.
Yep.
You're just going to be auto wounding on how many judgment tokens you have on the hit roll, rather than having to skip to the wound roll, which you're going to get even less amount going through.
It just ups the odds. If that answers the question, and what judgment tokens actually are, it's just a way of saying putting markers or counters on each unit. It's a way of tracking that basically. So 1, 2, and 3. Yes, Anthony.
No, I was just saying they said made total sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Sweet. Good job.
Yeah.
So, Hearthkin Warriors we were talking about before?
We're talking about the warriors, the basic units.
Aside from that, we were just talking about their basic guns. Now let's go into the nitty gritty of what they can take. And they got a whole list of stuff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So they can take, basic stuff they can take is a med pack.
Yeah.
So once per turn.
Med pack.
Yeah, once per turn, if they got shot, you can decide to, make that damage a 0. So if you're getting shot if someone wants to shoot a last cannon at you, the medic for some reason can pick that guy back up, his ashes, and just revive him.
Yep.
It just brings that damage down to 0.
It does.
It also allows you to resurrect with stratagems. So that would entice taking large hordes of, these warriors. The second one is they can take a multi-wave comms array, which allows them to benefit from the Carl's rerolls as long as they're within 24 inches of the Carl. Right. And they have a scanner keyword now, or a comms keyword.
They do, yeah.
The last one is they have a pan-spectral scanner, which allows them to ignore light cover against whatever they're attacking, which is pretty good.
It's not bad, yeah.
Always good to ignore light cover. I know from Custodes, get rid of that light cover. I don't want that. They do gain a scanner keyword, which is more just stratagems purposes.
Using strats.
And now, to get into the very big part, you're going to take weapons. They can take high-last auto rifles, which just gives them more attacks.
Yeah.
They can take missile launchers. The Magna Rail Rifle is probably something that we want to talk about.
You can only take one of those per squad, though, right?
If it's 10-man squad, you can only take one.
Yeah.
If you're taking a 20-man brick, you can take, I believe, a second one.
Are these guys better running them bare bones?
It depends on how you want to play it. If you want to play with more of your other toys, you probably only want to take a squad of this in a patrol detachment, and maybe take a second detachment if you really want to.
Because you're not going to see 20-man squads of these?
You might.
Really?
Like with the stratagems that they have, being able to, I guess the range and their speed is what makes the stratagems not as good. Yeah. But being able to mortal wounds on 6s for shooting, that's pretty good. And there's high strength.
Stand that out,
and they're 2 damage.
And then taking 2 of the Magna Rail, is it rifles or what are they?
The rifles, yes.
I mean, that can do some damage. You can put them in positions to be annoying, but that'll get pretty expensive.
It's going to cost 220 points if you take a 20-man brick. Yeah. And then the equipment's going to be like another 10 something points like that.
I think that's really expensive for this, but I would say 10-man bricks and then run them with maybe a Magna Rail rifle and use them as your like objective getting behind the scenes guys, because there's so many things you can take with this army we're going to get to that makes them so much tougher to deal with. But you do need this is your only choice. Like, this is all you can take for troops. You're going to have to take a few of them. Right? So there's
oh my God, these poor guys.
You're going to have to take them. I wouldn't overdo it though. With me personally, I'm going to keep these guys, pretty simple, and I'm going to use them specifically for objective hunting, getting my R&D, retrieve Nephilim data. So I'm not going to put too much on these guys because I know they're going to be shot off the board in the first couple of turns, especially if you're not going for a more tanky league. So
what also hurts them is their leadership 7. So
yes.
leadership 8 with the leader there.
Yeah.
But if you are taking a 20-man break, even like a 10-man, if you start losing models fast, you're going to start taking those attrition tests, and you're going to be like losing 1 or 2 models for no reason at all, aside from you just being penalized for losing models.
They know it's going to take longer to run away because they're short legs, so they're just like, got to roll more.
Leadership is not good for them, but the Magna Rail rifle is pretty good.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Magna Rail rifle? That's probably the one you would upgrade, right?
Yeah. It's the equivalent of putting a heavy rail rifle from a broadside onto a small dwarf.
He shoots it and gets knocked down and he gets back up.
It's one shot, but a heavy rail rifle is
going to take him a turn to get back up.
It's, I believe, the same stat line. Strength 9, AP -4, D3 plus 3 damage.
Wow.
It has a Magna Rail ability, so it's obviously better than a Tau heavy rail rifle from a broadside.
Yeah.
But you're basically taking that on a small little dude.
So ignore invulns, and then it carries over on 6s.
Yes.
Wow.
Way better than a Tau has to spend 85 points on a giant robot with it. You got a little squat dude shooting it, a little rail rifle.
So 2 of those could be great, but you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay to take 2 of those in a warrior squad. It's going to cost you just over 200 something points, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if that's worth it. We can talk about that tomorrow in the rankings, tier rankings. But like I said, you're going to have to take a few because they're the only troop unit you have in this book right now.
So they're the only troop unit, but not the only OPSEC unit. We'll talk about that later, though.
Yeah, they're not the only OPSEC unit. That's right. So let's go into the guys we've been talking about this whole time. Hearthguard, their version of Terminators, basically. And like you said, they can choose either to have the invuln or to deep strike.
It's only for the leader also, the invuln.
Yeah.
So don't fall into the trap of you think that the whole squad gets invulns.
No, the whole squad does not get it, no.
And if you are taking heavy shots from somebody, if you decide to put it on that leader with the invuln, you're going to have to keep taking saves on that leader until he dies or until the shooting phase is over. So it's a bit of a trap there.
So it's just the leader of the unit would get you. You can either choose to deep strike or get the 4-up invuln. Yeah.
Yes.
There's 2 ups in this army. Get 4 ups. I think they're good. I think a chunk. You want to take a chunk of these guys, especially with what you're doing. You want to take the toughness one. They're going to be T6 base. With the spell we were talking about, you're going to have T7. You're going to have T7 Terminators walking around with a 6-up Feel No Pain and a 4-up invuln. Right?
Yep.
Can you give the whole unit an invuln? Unless
you take the Ymir
so you can't
conglomerate.
combine those. Can you do a custom where you have the toughness in that? I don't think so.
No. The only thing you can really do is take Carl and keep him next to the Hearthguard. He gives a 5+ invuln to units within 6 inches that are infantry and bike. So only for ranged attacks. So you do have, you're like sort of like a scuff, like your Terminator, only for shooting. Yeah. But when you get into combat, I mean, you have armor contempt, or whatever, void armor is what they call it, and you have a 2-up save. So you're going to need what, AP -4 to even get them to a 5-up.
So they don't have an invuln unless you take that.
Yes.
But they would still have 7 toughness, and if you buff them 7 toughness and a 6-up Feel No Pain with the spell. Still pretty damn tough with 1 unit. Like you said, they have some great shooting. You want to talk about their guns?
Oh yes, the one I really like is the Vulcanite Disintegrator. 18-inch, 3 shots.
Yeah.
It's Volkite, so each time you roll with an unmodified hit roll of 6 inflicts a mortal wound. So imagine that with a Judgment, and you're taking that with, say, your the Greater League. League there?
The Greater Thurian League?
Yeah, Greater Thurian League.
Yeah.
If you have something, if you're shooting at something with 2 Judgment already, it becomes 3.
So now 4s become 6s. My God.
And you're going to dish out so many mortal wounds. Imagine a 5-man squad or even a 10-man squad with this weapon. 30 shots, hitting on 3s.
Wow.
There's a stratagem to make them actually hit on 2s.
I missed that, and that is ridiculously strong.
But the important thing is, if you're shooting at something with 3 Judgment points, which is easy for the Greater Thurian League, half of those are going to be mortal wounds.
Oh my god!
right? Based on statistics.
Yeah.
And then that's just like the cream of the crop.
Wow.
They also have like melee weapons. They can be Terminators with legit Thunder Hammers with a concussion hammer, which is strength times 2, AP minus 2, 3 damage.
Yeah.
It's minus 1 to hit. Or you can take concussion gauntlet, which is their base, strength plus 3, AP minus 2, 2 damage to make them strength 8.
Wow.
That's for that price point. It's for what they can do. I think they're more of a shooty unit and a deterrent for you getting to melee.
Wow.
Yeah, Anthony?
So 2 things. One guy's mentioning the Hearthguard strat to teleport around the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that.
Sure.
And the other question is, does Volkite end the damage?
Yes.
Volkite, yeah, you take the mortal wounds. Each time attack is made, yeah. So Volkite, well, wait, Volkite guns is on top. The mortals are on top of the damage.
Oh, so this is Vulcanite.
Vulcanite, okay.
It's Vulcanite.
Yeah, Volkite on the Contemptors, it's damage and then mortal wounds on top of the damage. This is just mortal wounds.
Yes.
Right.
So it's even better. Is it better? I'd say it's better. I think it's better.
Yeah.
For this army. But the other question was.
So no, to answer his question, no, it doesn't do both damage. It just does the mortal wounds. But what he was saying is, you spam out a bunch of these 3 shots, and if you have if you take the Greater Thurian League, for example, because they're probably going to be the best at this combo, you have 2 judgment on a unit, becomes 3 judgment when you shoot them. Now 4s become automatic 6s to wound. You're going to shred with mortal wounds. It doesn't matter that the attacks end; it's all mortal wounds. They all go through 3 shots apiece. You take 10 of them. Can you take that many weapons?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's you need 6s though. My bad. It's unmodified 6s. So I don't think judgment counts to that, does it?
Oh, they're okay.
Oh my God, this is like crazy.
It's an unmodified wound roll of 6.
Oh, unmodified wound roll, not unmodified hit roll.
Yeah, no. It's an unmodified wound roll of a 6. It becomes an unmodified wound roll of a 6.
Okay, so that doesn't apply.
It doesn't apply, but that would have been a crazy. You got me excited because that would have been a crazy.
I was thinking that was my bad there.
Volkite would work for Volkite, but they don't
Not
have
for
Volkite.
this. I was getting excited there
This
too.
is Vulcanite.
But, so
To
unmodified.
answer that question, yeah, it does end on the mortals. And the other, what was the other question?
Teleport strat for the.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
So it applies for a Votann teleportation unit.
Yeah.
It allows you to remove them from the battlefield, and in the reinforcement step of the movement phase, you get to put them back up 9 inches away from your opponent. If it's a character, it costs 1 CP. If it's not character, like a unit of Hearthguard, it's 2 CP.
So it's like a teleport Homer, but you got to pay CP for it.
And it's anywhere.
Anywhere on the board, yeah.
So you can put them anywhere with, of course, I'm talking about the Iron Master and his upgrade that we talked about. Reduce it down to 1 CP, and these guys are just going to be like, boop, boop,
Everywhere.
boop.
Swooping Hawks?
Swooping Hawks.
But they call Swooping Hawks, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah, and they do damage.
They do damage, and they're really strong, yeah.
So if that's the case, maybe the plasma gun might be good. Strength 8, AP minus 4, 2 damage, but it's only 1 shot and 24 inches.
Yeah. If you're gonna move, if you're gonna take that strat, like the way I would use that is a small unit of 5, maybe getting R&D, doing that kind of stuff, and then also giving them the ability to later on, be able to charge in or like you said, just spam a unit with Vulcanite there. Can you take Vulcanite on the entire unit? That's the question.
Yes, you can, and it's a free upgrade. Like, I mean, you get 3 shots, and if you take a 5-man unit or a 10-man unit, 30 of them, just shooting at something.
Wow.
1 in 6 chance, you should probably get like 4 or 5.
The wheels are turning in my head.
And then if you have him with the high, if you have him with the,
Or it's a monkey going like that.
if you have him with the high Carl, that rerolls everything.
Yeah.
So that means you can just like keep rerolling to see what you can get in terms of unmodified hit rolls of 6 and do mortal wounds.
So if I'm correct here, you can use these guys, teleport them around in the early stages of the game when judgment's going to be lower. You can use them to get R&D, cap off your engage on all fronts, and then by turn 3, turn 4, and turn 5, when units are going to start having more judgment on them, their Vulcanite comes in and starts doing damage, and you're hitting on 4s.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of attacks. Like this.
You're auto wounding on 4s later on, and you can do all that stuff with them in the early game. That's really good. I love that strategy.
I just noticed something that you can do. Him and the High Carl. Because the High Carl, it's the command phase ability, right?
Yeah.
Where in the command phase you can get a unit to reroll everything.
Yeah.
Have the Hearthguard sitting near the Carl to get that buff. And then during your turn, you're like, okay, they have the buff, I'm gonna teleport them somewhere else. And now they have full rerolls while they're somewhere else. So you say you wanna like charge the Hearthguard into something, teleport them away from the High Carl after getting the buff, charge into them, and then you're gonna get full rerolls.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
And
who asked those questions, by the way?
Adam Tim talked about the teleport, and he just mentioned the High Carl now.
Yeah.
It popped up here now.
Yeah.
And
Adam.
exactly what he said with the teleport. And
Nice.
that mic isn't on.
Yeah.
And Gold Chad did the Volkite one.
Ah, okay.
Gold Chad?
Gold Chad.
Thank you.
Gold Chad, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So, and they also have like a mini shoulder cannon thingy.
Yep.
That is just strength 4 AP -1, 1 damage. I'd say it's just like, almost like a Stormbolter equivalent.
Right.
It's just there for like just plinking off shots here and there.
But either way, still good.
35 points a model. If you upgrade them with Concussion Hammer, it becomes 45 points. I don't know if it's worth upgrading them 10 points for that Thunder Hammer
Just for the Thunder
item.
Hammer? Yeah.
I just keep them as maybe a ranged threat. And
You got me thinking now with the stratagem now, teleporting them and using that one unit as like going around. They're tough. You can do a lot of things with them. They're really good. I think they're awesome at what they can do. We'll get into to more of the stratagems after as well. But let's get into the next unit here, unless you have anything else to say with these guys.
Nope, it's clear cut. I really like this unit.
The chaos. Sorry, what did you say?
I like this unit. I like the unit of
I love
Hearthguard.
I think they're really good. I think we all think we can do a lot with them, right? These guys were all mixed. I think all of us have a different idea of the way we would use these. Obviously, they're close combat. The Berserkers. Mm-hmm. But I don't. For the way I would play these guys, I would not take these at all. I don't have use for them. But Anthony loves them. Mm-hmm. You're on the fence with what you would do with them.
When you told me initially they were like the wolf. Was it the Wolfen?
They're Wolfen, yeah.
I always liked the Wolfen. Like they're fast.
Wolfen are great. The Wolfen are better in my opinion, but these guys are pretty good.
These guys can't be like hit. These guys are very squishy though. They're toughness 5, 2 wounds.
They're gone as soon as they're glass cannon.
6 up regular save, no invuln. They do have an augmented feel no pain where if they do take damage on a 5 up, that wound is not lost. Okay. If it's a damage 1 weapon, they get +1 to that save.
Wow.
So if you're shooting them with bolter fire, on a 4+, they get to shrug that wound off.
Okay.
So they do have some fun stuff in their kit. They can reroll charge rolls made for the unit. Yep. And whenever a unit dies, even though it didn't fight, a model dies, they get to fight before they remove from the play.
Wow. That is really good. There are some stratagems, I think, or buffs to give them more AP, but do they really need that?
They're, I think, just sheer weight of dice.
Yeah.
You probably want to kit them out with the heavy plasma axe, just so you have the option of making them strength 6, AP -3, 2 damage, or having a sweep profile where it's strength 5, AP -3, 1 damage, but each hit roll is you make 2 instead of 1.
Yeah.
So you can potentially have each model having 6 attacks to clear something out.
Yeah. And I've seen people have lists with, what's the Shock Assault league? That gives you +1 strength, +1 attack on your charge. They basically give you Shock Assault on your charge.
They are the Cronus Hegemony.
Yes, the Hegemony. This could work, because you'd give them 1 attack extra. Mm-hmm. They would have 1 strength extra. And I think they get, is there one of their things, they get an extra AP as well?
Maybe let me double check that.
There?
Let me
because
check
either
that.
way, they don't like -4 AP in close combat would be good for them against Marines, but meta wise right now you're not going to see a lot of Marines in tournaments. -3 damage is crazy.
Those are, you have to pay for that one, I believe, like 10 extra points.
Okay, so
or
per
something.
model.
So Cronus Hegemony do have that.
Yeah.
Each time a model with this custom makes a melee attack against a target that has 2 or more judgment points.
Yeah.
Increase the AP of it by 1.
-1, yeah.
So you're going to need to keep stacking up AP on that. You're going to need to suffer a lot of losses in order to, I guess that's what it is. You keep taking losses until your Berserkers get into combat and mulch whatever they need to do.
So you just say take the regular Plasma Axe in this situation then?
I think the regular Plasma Axe, for the sheer amount of attacks and the fact that it's free, I believe the concussion maul, you have to pay points for that.
The thing is, which profile would you take? Would you take the sweep or the strike?
Actually, no. The concussion maul is free, so you have to make a decision there.
I do like their heavy plasma axe, and then like I said, if you have that, if you're going to go more berserkers and close combat, you would take the shock assault one, or maybe you won't. But I mean, that would stack nicely with this. You would get 4 attacks instead of 3. Your strength would go up to strength 6, and which would become strength 7 with the strike. But with the sweep attack, you're getting an additional. You're making 2 hit rolls, and yeah, that's a lot. You have 4 that we turn into 8 attacks per model. What do you think? That could shred. I think a lot of things.
I've seen. Wait, just
minus
sheer
3 on both.
Sheer weighted dice is the name of the game with that high strength and high AP if you do get 2 or more judgment points with the Cronus hegemony. The concussion maul, I do see the strength times 2, AP minus 3, 3 damage is strong though. But you're hitting on 4s then at that point.
Yeah.
And there's not many. I guess if you do take the Cronus hegemony as well, you're hitting on 3s base.
Yeah.
But I prefer having just sheer more number of attacks.
You do? Yeah. I mean, I do this a lot. I play Death Guard as well, you know that. And you see what I do with my Death Shroud. But the only difference is, when I go with the sweep attack, I don't do the sweep attack because I want more attacks. I go for the fishing for mortal wounds on the 6s.
True, you're right.
So I want those extra wounds with the 6s. So it's more attacks plus more mortals. In this situation, unless there's more models in the unit in general, like you're going into a big 30-man blob of guard or whatever, and you want to do those extra attacks on chaff, absolutely. But I think in most situations, you're going to be taking the +1 strength, AP minus 3, 2 damage. I think it just does more. Weight of dice wise, it doesn't matter in this situation. You're doing more damage.
Now that I'm thinking about it though, once you bring in judgment to play, especially with the Cronus hegemony, if you're already at 2 judgment points, I'm assuming that you're going to maybe like get something with 3. If you do take the concussion maul and you're hitting on 3's base because you charged or got charged, you're going to just skip the wound phase completely and just do straight AP minus 4, 3 flat damage.
That's true.
Would that be something that's worth it though?
Yeah, I think so. If you start auto wounding on 4s, yeah, that's crazy. Then you definitely go for the weight of dice in that situation. You're just going to have way more, even though it's only 1 damage. You're going to have so many dice that are.
No, I was talking about the concussion maul.
Oh, the concussion maul.
Like I don't care about the -1 to hit because with judgment, I'm going to be like auto wounding on 4s to hit.
For 1 more damage, is that worth it?
You're right about that.
It's only 1 more damage.
It's 3 more damage. It's 3 damage actually.
But you can do 2 damage with the strike. And
you're right about that.
Pretty much the same. I mean, you're stronger. The concussion maul would be good to be going into tanks, or if you want to fight a dreadnought, you're going to be, or a demon or something really, really tough. You're going to have ×2 strength. And like we said, if you have the shock assault, what do they call the one we just said?
Yeah, the Cronus hegemony.
The Cronus hegemony. You'll be toughness. Strength 6 ×2 would be strength 12. You'll be doing some damage to even big units like we saw demons, some of the big models that are coming out now. So you might want to do 3 damage, but at the end of the day, it's like that can shred a unit alone.
The sweep. You talk about the plasma axe.
The concussion maul. I mean that if you have 1 of those in there, just 1 to do 4 attacks, right? With the shock assault 1. You're doing some damage because if 4s become auto wounds, 3 each.
I'm just looking.
It might be worth taking 1 in a unit or 2 out of how many can you take?
All of the models in this unit can have their plasma axe replaced with a concussion maul.
I wouldn't take that many. I would take maybe 2 because they're probably expensive.
No, they're the same point cost.
They're the same point cost as the other one. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I mean, strength doesn't matter when you're just fishing for judgment, right? But I really like the damage 3. Flat 3 damage.
If it's free, then you are absolutely right. The only difference is you're not going to have the chaff clearing ability.
Yeah.
So if you're going to run into a big unit of, like I said, a blob of, you want to just clear out 30 demons, and they all have 1 wound apiece, you're not going to be able to do that with 3 damage, 4 attacks.
if I'm reading
You'd
this
rather want
right,
to 8 attacks.
you can probably mix and match weapons, which
You can, probably.
might be an ideal choice. Maybe
you wanna
one
change
or
it
two
up.
mauls, the rest of them having the axes.
If it's free, definitely take some of those concussion mauls. There's no reason not to.
And then you can also, let me check.
Yeah, these guys are interesting actually. You can like do a lot of different things, but like I said, we won't know until we try this out. But looking at it, if it's free, definitely take a few because they're 3 damage. They're Marine Terminator killers off the bat, and I like that. And it subtract 1. That's the only difference. But you made a great point. If you have judgment on a unit, you're relying on that judgment though for this to be really effective. So for this to be really effective, you're relying on that judgment to be at 3, and then your 4s would be auto wounds. Then it would be a great combo. Otherwise, yeah, like I'll take the sweeps. They're going to be hitting on.
Yeah.
You're hitting on 3s, and you're still auto wounding on 5s or 6s. It doesn't really matter.
With the Kronos hegemony and these guys, I'd assume it's the rest of your army is dead.
Yeah.
Only for your berserkers to march up.
Yep.
Everything is like lit with judgment.
Yeah.
That's when these guys start like rolling out the damage.
Yep.
Aside from that, they can take a mole launcher, which is just a ranged weapon. I don't really mind that because they're just meant to be a melee blender. But they add one to the wounds characteristic and one to the attack characteristic for 1 model.
Okay.
So for 10 points.
Not bad.
And then they get the subterranean explosive keyword, which is if you have line of sight and you shoot something, you can have the movement of that unit that you shot as long as it doesn't fly.
Interesting.
It's useful, but it's 2 CP, so you got to think about that.
Very interesting.
Anyways,
Moving into the heavy units.
First,
Yeah.
one person said they seen the mole launcher increases the base size of the model. Does that affect anything?
The mole launcher increases the base size of the model.
Because you put the mole launcher on with it. It's a different base.
Oh, you mean the model itself that shoots the mole launcher is bigger? Does that make a big difference for them?
line of sight difference. I guess it makes it easier to you have a bigger presence. Like your footprint gets a little bit bigger for charging.
In general, yeah. But are you going to bring a mole launcher into combat first? Like that's the only reason I would think it would be a problem. If you're going to be charging something, don't put that unit. Like don't bring him in first. Bring everything else in. Because it will play a factor in like piling in after.
Yes.
Some units will be left out. So
put him in first.
Why?
Because that's a bigger engagement range if not all you guys can
You could.
combat.
You could, yeah. You could do that too. It just depends on the situation. If I can get all my units in, I'd rather them be at the back. But like if you're going to use it in that situation where you're just a little bit closer to a unit for engagement, yeah, absolutely. Because piling in after too, you have that little bit bigger of a base. Yeah, nothing's never that black and white. There's going to be like reasons why it's not as good, and there's reasons why it's better. For line of sight, like you said, it's a bigger model. It's going to be harder to hide a base like that, and but there's a lot of pros over the cons. So, it's not a game changer to have that though. I would not take one just because of that. But good question. Thank you.
All right, now we got the Brockhear Thunderkin.
Guys, yeah. Listen, their guns are pretty good. They're tough. Do you need this? The way we're going to be playing, the way you're going to see dwarfs being fielded, are you going to see these guys? Probably not.
I don't. These guys are legit very, very slow. 5-inch movement. They have something called the exo frame, just to make themselves look a bit taller. They are. It's like a backpack with longer legs.
No, I know.
So they have a cool ability where they ignore dense cover with the Omni Visor.
Yep.
And they're going to hit on 3s unless they have a built-in -1 to hit.
Yep.
So dense cover is not an issue. They don't suffer movement penalties because everything's hunter.
Yep.
The problem is, how are you going to get these guys into range to shoot? They are very slow. Aside from one of the weapons, they're within 30-inch range. So you're gonna be like creeping up slowly to hit things. The weapons aren't that impressive themselves.
They have a conversion beamer, but it's not the conversion beamer you're thinking of.
No.
It's a totally different conversion beamer. They're all right. Like in my mind, these weapons are just like, meh.
They're good.
They're good.
If it was not in this book.
unit, yeah.
If they were in the Graviton Blast Cannon, I would love for it to be in a Space Marines book. It is what I
Hunter
would.
D6, sorry.
Strength 5, AP minus 3, 2 damage.
Yeah, that's good.
And it becomes 3 if it's against an armor slave at 3+.
3+, yeah.
Grav cannons, if they had that stat line, would be amazing.
That's what I was thinking as soon as I saw
Like,
that, yeah.
Space Marine grav cannons, I'm just going to touch on this briefly, are only 1 damage base. 2 is if it's against 3+.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. I love it. But it's, once again, it's 18-inch range, so it's really short range.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, this is probably one of the better weapons that they have.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
Grav cannons with 3 flat damage are good.
Yeah.
The SP conversion beamer is 30-inch range,
Yeah.
but it only becomes really good when it's within 15-inch, where if you roll to hit and you get a hit already, you do 2 instead of 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Like I said, and D6 is swingy as hell. Like going back to the blast cannon, D6 is so swingy. Yes, it can really do really well, but it's like it's fool's gold, and like I don't like seeing weapons D6 because it's not reliable. You can't count on that to be effective every turn. So you're not going to take that into a tournament, but it's fun. Like if you're playing with your friends, that's like, let's see how hard these guys can hit. But I don't think they're going to be an effective unit because they're not going to be consistent.
which weapon do you think is actually good then? If you don't like, if the grav blast cannon might not be good.
I agree with you that the stat profile is really good, but it's the swinginess that throws me off it. I don't like seeing a weapon be a D6 shot. I understand it's one of the stronger weapons, but you take 3 of these guys and they all roll, 1, 2, 1. You have 4 shots with 3 guys that you've paid how much for? They're not super expensive, but they could just be useless for 2 turns because they rolled bad. D6 is a really swingy number to put on there for a weapon. Yeah.
Any other of these weapons stand out to you?
For me, I think you're right. I think that's their best weapon here, profile-wise. The conversion beamer, you have to get really close if you want it to be good. So the 18-inch grav cannon is probably their best weapon. You're right, and it's really swingy.
What do you mean the conversion beamer you have to get closer to be good?
You have to be outside of 15. If things start getting close to you, it's like basically not good anymore.
No, it becomes better.
What?
It becomes better.
It gets worse as you get closer.
Is it?
Yeah, you have to be farther away.
Over 15 inches is 1 additional hit when you hit.
Yeah, it's a conversion beamer, so the farther you go, the better it is.
Okay.
It's not the real conversion beamer.
So it's not that bad actually.
If you guys remember the old conversion beamer, 72 inches was the max range that you had on it. So you would put it right in the corner, and you would get your D3. So every 24? Every 24 inches away, excuse me, you were from the target, you gained another D3 damage.
Oh my goodness.
And you would run 2 of them, so it'd be 2 D3. Like if you hit 2, it'd be like 2 D3. So you could be doing 6 D3 damage if you were 72 inches away. It was insane.
Man, this unit makes us want to talk about Space Marines.
Yeah, Space Marines. These are Space Marines. I mean, these are all Space Marines, what they want, basically.
These guys are taller than Space Marines.
Yeah, they're taller. Are they?
You pay 5 extra points for the conversion beamer.
Do you?
Yeah, the other 2 guns are the free ones.
Yeah, I mean, the conversion beamer is strength 7, AP minus 2, 3 damage. It's better as you get farther. It does 1 additional hit.
And it's a beam.
And it's a beam weapon, which is, it can go over. That's one thing we have to mention. It is a beam weapon. You can hit multiple units with this. That might be their best weapon, considering it's a beam weapon.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, with all the line of sight blocking terrain in ITC, and with their lack of mobility, I'm iffed about that one.
If you play ITC and you go to it, we're trying to rank them as we're not ranking them right now, but we're thinking tournaments. Lots of line of sight blocking, low mobility. You play Eldar, these guys are never going to get a shot off. Like you're legit not going to see anybody the entire game with these guys because they move 5 inches. There's ways you can put them into a position. You're going to have to expose them though.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way you can deliver these guys otherwise. But the beam weapon is probably their best. I changed my mind. Thank Anthony for reminding me that beam weapons are pretty viable in this codex because you can hit multiple units at once. So strength 7, AP minus 2, 3 damage, 1 extra hit. You're going to put these guys far away, or you're going to put them above 15 inches, obviously, because they're not going to be in close combat. Beam weapons, I guess. I'll go for the win with that.
But Adam says you could have 4 inches of range with Vinegar.
With what?
with Ymir, or the Invuln League.
Yeah, definitely. If you're taking that league, this would be a little bit better. 4 inches would definitely help.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into your.
All right.
You like these are your favorite units here. I think 1, 2, and 3 of your favorites, and we can end off with them.
Yep.
The Sagittar.
You got to go fast.
Let's go fast. You got to go fast to win. 9th edition.
They are like a chimera on steroids. A chimera on steroids, but lean.
But lean, okay.
So 12-inch movement,
Lean.
it's tough to 7, 9 wounds, which is crazy.
is.
Chimera is 10 wounds, so this thing doesn't degrade in stat line.
No.
If your opponent decides to leave this thing alive, it's going to be just driving around. It's probably not going to have much of a load because it's only, a 5 capacity?
Yeah.
But they can take a pretty good weapon, which is the high last beam cannon. Imagine fitting a last cannon on this little ATV or whatever buggy it is, driving around, shooting 2 shots, strength 9, AP -3, D6 damage. It also has beam. So if your opponent starts lining up those shots for you, you're going to get some additional hits and benefits from that.
So are you giving away what you would take on this last cannon?
I think you just go for the last cannon, honestly.
Really?
130, it's 20 points extra to bump it up from 110 to 130. But being able to equip a last cannon or 2 last cannon shots on this vehicle gives it a lot of flexibility and mobility.
And it's a beam.
Yep.
So
That's
a little bit better than a last cannon.
If your opponent lines it up, bang.
But I hate D6 damage. I hate the D6. I'm not going to lie. You can't give these guys everything. I understand. D6 damage is swingy. You know this.
Yep. I mean, you do have the big boy coming in soon with, if you want consistent damage, how does a consistent 6 damage plus 2d3 sound for you?
That's much, much better.
There's
nothing more than I hate. There's nothing more than why am I speaking backward? There's nothing I hate more than a weapon that's you have to pay for. It's expensive. It's a heavy 2. You have 2 shots and you hit. You finally wound, and then you do 2 damage with your D6 damage weapon. It is the worst feeling ever.
Would you rather spend? How about the missile launcher then? You do pay, I think, less. Pay 10 points rather than 20 for strength 10, AP -3, 3 damage.
Much more consistent is the word. It would be more consistent for you because first of all you're higher strength, which being strength 10 is not that big of a deal, but it is when you're going against Terminators that are T5 or something like that. Otherwise, it's not a big deal. AP -3, they're both AP -3. The 3 damage is guaranteed 3 damage. It's only 3 damage. You're not going to get 6. You're not going to spike that spectrum, but you're guaranteed 3 damage. It's not going to be a 1.
You're okay with losing the beam then? Not taking beam?
And the beam is a big hit, yeah. Like, if you can line up a few units and shoot that last cannon, you're right. Like, but do units suffer the D6 all in that beam?
Yeah. Now you just need to roll to wound.
You just have to roll to wound.
As long as you hit the target that you're shooting, anyone under that line is going to suffer a wound roll.
Right. As long as it's an eligible target in between. So we spoke about this in the first video. If you want to go back and watch that, for beam weapons, we speak about beam weapons. So you can draw a line between, let's say you have 1, 2, and 3 units. You can draw a line between all 3 of those units and shoot the beam. You just roll to see if each one gets wounded. But the units have to be targetable. So if you have a character in the middle here and you have a unit in front, he's not an eligible target because he's character and he has, lookout. And so he's not eligible. Also, if they're not in line of sight, if there's a unit and the line goes over a unit behind cover and you can't see them, not an eligible unit.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. But yes, the beam weapon is probably the better weapon here if you're thinking about that. 'Cause remember, you're driving around, you're going super fast, you're going to line things up easily.
Yes.
You're going to say, okay, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to be able to line it up and shoot it. So because of the mobility of this unit, that is probably the best weapon.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah.
You are paying 10 extra points for that beam though.
That's not too bad though.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
No.
My favorite thing about them is they have the accelerated keyword, meaning that if you advance with them, it's an automatic 6.
Auto 6, yeah.
You don't even need to roll. That
Just 6.
12-inch model is going 18 inches once advancing.
Yep.
That's fast. That's really fast. Just guaranteed that extra 6 inches.
And you can bring these in units of 2. You can separate. So which means it's detachment wise, you can take them You can if you want to take 4 of them, you don't have to take, separate detachments to bring them. You just bring 2 and 2.
Yep.
And then separate. So that's always good to have.
Another rule that they do have is it's called mounted assault.
Yeah.
Put a 10-man infantry unit. It cannot be Hearthguard or Exo armor.
Yeah.
So basically, you're gonna take your Hearthkin or even Berserkers.
Yeah.
Take a 10-man blob. Put them into 2 of these vehicles if they have, you need 2 models in this unit.
Yeah.
They can be split into a 5-man unit and a 5-man unit, both riding inside these vehicles.
Yeah.
So I wanted to test this out actually. If you want to test out Berserks, put them inside these vehicles.
Yeah.
Drive them up to objective.
That's a
Even
good
if
idea.
that vehicle pops, the Berserks drop out, and if your opponent has no more shooting left, they're gonna have to deal with an extremely tough unit that when they die, they get to fight before they're removed.
You can only bring 5 though.
Is 5 might be enough?
5 might be enough. Berserkers, yeah, I guess so.
Because they get expensive, right? 22 points a model.
Yeah, that could work. You can have a little load of Berserkers come out, 5 guys. Bringing your league with this would be tough T8.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. Having little buggies running around. I mean, I see these guys as land speeder, like heavy duty land speeders.
They're way better than that.
This is insane.
They're like Lehman Russ, baby Lehman Russes on steroids.
They are little baby Lehman Russes.
Toughness 8. They have a 3-up save, but armor contempt.
Toughness 7 base.
If I take Usur.
Yeah, if you take Usur, yeah.
And then, or you can take Hearthguard Warriors, or Hearthkin Warriors.
Yeah, give them a 4-up.
Give them the Magna Rifle.
Yeah.
Drop them out somewhere that your opponent is going to be at disadvantage of.
Yeah.
Pop them.
Lots of things you can do with them. The mobility is huge. 9th edition, mobility is huge. So obviously we're going to like this unit. Yeah. Not much more to say with them. They're really good. Go with the beam weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Pay for the beam, you say?
I'd say pay for the beam.
Pay for the beam cannon? Absolutely, I agree.
Pay for the beam, just go fast, see where Lady Luck takes you.
Put 5 Berserkers in there if you really want to just unload a target and maybe get a charge off. Yep, I agree. Moving on to the other unit we were talking about, fast attack. But they are OBSEC, the Pioneers. So we bring in some bikes. Like I said, I watched the game yesterday. Anthony taking 3 units of 6 of these. 2 of them went down pretty fast. Faster. We thought they would be a little more tanky than what we saw on paper, but he was playing against Space Clowns.
Oh,
so they can dish out a lot of damage. They survived. Like they're survivable. The -1 to hit is huge. Being -1 to hit in the shooting phase is massive for them. Giving them that +1 toughness. I believe you took the +1 toughness on them, right? So they were T6 driving around T6. He threw on Fortify on 1 unit, made them T7 with a 6-up, feel no pain.
Nice.
-1 to hit. Matt was molding. He's like, why won't these things die? But that's how tough you can make them. Or you can throw on the 4-up invuln, or sorry, the 5-up. They would get a 5-up invuln, then throw on Fortify if you take that league. It's 5-up invuln, 6-up feel no pain. Toughness, they would be toughness 6 with the spell. That sucks. Like that's really harsh for a unit this cheap. Because, like I said, 18 of these are 500 points.
Yes.
That's crazy. Crazy.
I find them to be they're like a support unit in my opinion.
Yeah.
Being able to have like OBSEC is fine and all, but they don't really hit too hard. Like you said before, they're really good at tanking.
Yep.
I do agree with that. They have 3 wounds each, toughness 5. You can augment that toughness even more. In terms of the armor save, they only have a 4+.
Yep.
So unless you get them near a Carl to give them a 5-up invuln, because they're gonna be shot easily. Or even taking the Ymir Conglomerate where they're 5-up invuln no matter what.
No matter what. And then 1 unit could have a 6-up feel no pain.
Yeah, it's fast. And I think they have a lot of abilities that you can give them out. You can give them a Searchlight keyword. You can give them multi-comms array to give them the comms keyword. And then something that you can give is the scanner keyword. Yeah. I assume that you're probably gonna maybe like kit out like a couple of these abilities to them. You have to pay some points for them, of course.
Yeah.
It's mainly the stratagems I find are good. If you take the Searchlight keyword on these guys and they shoot something, I believe you can actually give a judgment point right off the bat.
Wow.
So that with a bunch of other other leagues, such as the Great Arthurian League, you can turn that 1 into a 2 judgment.
Wow.
And there's just so many ways you can play with them. Scanner, I believe, helps with one of their mission secondaries, in which they get +1 to the roll for determining rich deposits.
Right.
And when you control that rich deposit, I believe you get like 3 victory points at the end of the game or something like that. I'm not too sure about the comms. I'll have to double check on that. But I do wholeheartedly agree that they are fast, and they're just, for me, a support unit to support the rest of your big dudes moving up.
Absolutely. You're not bringing these guys to kill anything. They're going to throw in some pot shots. They're going to take some shots. Just take them. Take a 6-man. Take 3 6-man units of these. Overwhelming at the beginning of the game. You just move them on objectives. You can pre-move. You can auto-move 6. Is that correct, Anthony? You can pre-move them 12, and then auto-move 6 in your next movement phase, right?
I'd actually recommend not bringing them up first turn, since that exposes them to a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not all of them, but I'm saying you can, for one unit that you want to get into on an objective or try to get engaged on all fronts early, and like I said, you don't want to throw them right in the backfield right away, but you can position them with all that movement you can do in the first turn, or put them behind cover.
You can hide them. They might be hard to hide depending how big the models are.
Yeah, 6 unit.
A 6-man, it'd be hard. But you're right, they auto-advance 6 because of steady advance, and they're accelerated. And there's a stratagem to just auto-advance them 12. So they have a 12-inch pre-game move, and you can go into the enemy's deployment. It doesn't say you can't go in their deployment zone. You just have to end 9 inches away from an enemy model.
That is
Wait, what?
Yes, I know.
What?
Check the pre-game move. It doesn't say you can't go in their deployment zone.
Yo, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So 12-inch pre-game move, 12-inch normal move, and a stratagem to move 12 again.
Okay, good job. That is good. They're really strong. But they don't hit hard.
No.
They do have a lot of shooting.
They have a lot of shooting, but you're not going to kill big things with this. It's just
chaff.
They're there to be annoying. They're not. I wouldn't say they're chaff.
They can delete chaff.
They can delete chaff. Yeah, they sit on objectives. They're annoying. It depends on the league you take. You can buff these guys in many different ways. Like we said, spells with Fortify. You can take different leagues to give them their invulns. You can take leagues to give them higher toughness. You can take league that I like and make them OPSEC. Sorry, make them count as double.
Yes.
And they're OPSEC. So they would be 6 would be 12, and they're OPSEC.
Once again, support. I wholeheartedly agree. There's a support unit that you gotta be smart with.
Yeah.
30 points a model. It's quite a lot still, but it's like cheap for what they can do. You don't want to just like throw them around like candy. Be too preemptive with them. They can do a lot for your army, and I like these units a lot.
They are good.
I see that they have the same issue with AdMech though. It's your fast attack slot is filled. There's
Same with
so many good fast attack choices, but that's just the way it goes.
That's the way it is. But you can bring 6 of them, so each unit. So might as well stack it out. Let's go into the last unit of this short codex. The Land Fortress.
The Hecaton.
The Hecaton? Is that how you say it?
Hecaton.
Hecaton, yeah.
So
Land Fortress.
This is the.
I mean, it's expensive.
It's the squat equivalent of Land Raider.
Let's see. The Hecaton is 230 points. You're going to pay 5 points for an ion beamer. You're going to get Ancestral Vengeance Warhead is 10 points. The Kin's Warhead is 10 points, and the Mounted Breaker Warhead is 10 points. So
let's go through the stat line first. I'm going to ask you though, does this suffer from the Land Raider syndrome of it being that expensive and being that big of a target? Is it worth it? Let me see if you can answer that at the end. Like,
so
I think.
At the end, or you want to answer that right now?
Do you want to just go through the stat line first and then see what we got?
Stat line first, yeah. T9, you can make this with yours. Yeah. It's T8 base, 16 wounds, and it's really tough. If this thing had -1 to hit, I would just be laughing, but it doesn't. So T8 off the bat, obviously this thing's a fortress. Yours would make it T9. The funniest part of all of this is one of the leagues we like, the Greater Thurian League.
Yes.
Would make this the Greater Thurian League's the 4-up invuln, 5-up. No, sorry, that's the
Ymir Conglomerate.
Ymir Conglomerate with the 4-up, 5-up.
Yes.
T8 with a 4-up invuln. You bring 2 of these, they're 230 points. yes, I would for that. If you're going to take that league with a 4-up invuln, toughness 8, yes, it's worth it, because 2 base save, the 4-up invuln's huge with all the heavy hitting weapons. Unless you're going against Tau and they're going to shoot railguns at it, then it doesn't really matter. But if you follow with your little your dwarf tech priest over there, and just delete some of those, because you can just remove one of those and say that didn't happen, and then you can repair them, it might be worth it. It might be worth taking these, because you can make them really tough with that invuln. Besides that, if they don't have an invuln, they might not be as viable, in my opinion, because 230 points is hard to make up. When you take 2 of these, that's 500 points. Not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, but it's only 2 models.
It has void armor, of course, so
it does, -1.
Armor contempt, and you cannot reroll. You can't reroll the wound or damage.
Or damage, right.
So if my lucky last cannon only rolls a 1 to wound, 1 for damage, I'm stuck. So these guys penalize d6 damage if you roll bad.
This is the this makes swingy armies pay for their mistakes. Like, there's no command points against this.
Yes.
You make that mistake, it's over. Like, you roll a 1 with your last cannon, it's a 1. So it makes them a lot more reliable as far as being tanky, I guess, doing their job and tanking. But the 4-up invuln, I want a 4-up invuln on these guys, or go your route and say, let's make them T9.
Yep.
And that's another way to go with it.
You know what that means? Multi-meltas, usually winning on 4s, become 5s.
Winning on 5s.
Last cannon equivalents, strength 9,
4s.
become 4s.
Yeah.
And you can't re-roll it. So those eradicators that everyone used to spam are unfortunately it's like throwing wet paper towels at somebody.
Yeah.
Mortal wounds, of course, will hurt this thing, because there's very little things that Votann can do to ignore mortal wounds.
Yeah, you can just put units in front to guard them, but against smites.
And now we talk about the tankiness. Let's talk about the firepower.
Yeah.
It has bolt cannons, 4 of them for free, which is strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage, 2 shots, 36-inch range. So it's basically like a heavy bolter, like a little bit better.
So 8 shots, yeah.
It comes with an autocannon, which is heavy 6, strength 7, AP -2, 2 damage.
Nice.
And it comes based with a cyclic ion cannon, which we would always say replace it with the heavy magma rail cannon, the big boy to the magna rail cannon.
Yeah.
So this is basically putting the hammerhead railgun on top of a giant tank.
A better version, because this version carries over.
Yes.
So it doesn't just splash. It doesn't just put a slug, it splashes on everybody.
Strength 14, AP -4, 2d3 plus 6 damage.
Wow.
The Magna Rail ability means that it ignores invulns, and on a 6 to wound, the damage just keeps going through. It just keeps applying to the models.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop with one model. It applies to the whole unit until all the damage is used up.
Yep, just like the flails used to do.
Exactly.
That damage carries over on 6s. That's huge for... You're going to shoot this into a unit of Space Marines, let's just say, because we use the poster boys all the time for our comparisons. Yeah, it doesn't just... If you do 12 damage, let's just say, it's not going to just delete that one guy with 12 damage. It's going to spill over until it's all wasted.
As long as you roll a 6 to wound.
Yeah, 6s, yeah.
Which, with Judgment, is... You're going to have to try to be lucky with that, be smart with the Judgment.
Oh, yeah.
One thing we found with the Great Arthurian League, take that, take a land fortress, get those bikes into position in which you see something that you want to kill.
Yeah.
Shoot them, use the searchlight stratagem to give them 1 judgment token. You want to take Uthar, the named character for the Great Arthurian League, put him beside your tank. When the tank shoots, use Uthar's ability, Ancestral Fortune, to turn that hit roll into a 6 for the Magma Rail Cannon. Because of Judgment, it procs, and you're instantly just going to delete something. Turn 1 or turn 2. And you get to do this once per battle round, if you feel like being risky and aggressive. Just delete, delete, delete.
You know what we need to make this really OP? We need a stratagem that turns Magna Rails into a beam weapon as well.
Oh my goodness.
That would be real. That would be mold-inducing for sure.
I'd assume that the weapon just goes straight through, just melts through everything. But Apparently that might be too OP.
That might be OP. Yeah, let's not go there. They have a lot of great stuff. This is a great unit. You like it. I like it. There's a lot of things you can do with these, and their carrying capacity is what?
12.
So you can carry 12 in here, and the new rule does not apply to these because they're not specific transports. So you don't have to put models into these. They can carry if you want them to. And Anthony has a question here.
One person said, you know the Thurian League set?
Yep.
Thurian League.
Can they do that in Overwatch?
Can they do what in Overwatch?
Make it an auto 6 to hit with the Magna round.
Let me double check that. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Because Zuchi said, stop giving him ideas, Claudio.
Hey, I'm just here to be devil's advocate. I mean, GW has done more broken things than that, so.
Technically, judgment tokens would affect Overwatch.
Yes, so.
The judgment can call the Destin guy, make it a 6 in Overwatch, so now you can just, if
Put your mic down.
trying to countercharge you.
It's once per battle round when you make a hit roll, wound roll, or damage roll for this model or friendly unit within 6. It just says, like, when you're making a roll. So technically, if you're doing Overwatch, you can turn that into a 6.
Into a 6, yeah.
Which is, as long as they have a judgment token, they're screwed. Whatever
Yeah,
you just...
sixes, if they have one judgment token, a 6 becomes an automatic wound. Even
Yes.
in Overwatch.
So, you heard it here first. You can delete whatever's trying to countercharge you. Nothing could stop your land fortress.
Just make sure your opponent uses up that Uthar the Destin's ability before you consider that. If your opponent, otherwise you can have a land fortress right in front as a bait. Uthar's right behind him. You charge like what, a Terminator squad?
Yep.
That Terminator squad is bye.
Hold on, it gets better. If you take the League outside, the Greater Thurian League.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah, but it's +1 as long as they have one judgment token on it, so it wouldn't matter in Overwatch. They have to have one judgment token.
They already
on
have to have one
enemies.
judgment.
Yeah.
But there's ways to get that.
But you
first
can
turn.
give them the automatic 6 is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
then
funny.
if you could get a judgment on them, if you couldn't use the token at
Yeah.
first, now you could use it in Overwatch just to stop a counter
you can
charge.
definitely you can stop a counter charge.
Counter snipe.
And it spills over, so ouch.
That Terminator unit that decides to charge land
Poor
fortress
Poor Terminators.
goes by. Or
That death
any.
company trying to charge you, dead.
Oh
Company,
my god.
I just want to say the Blood Angel stuff right now with that's got to get nerfed. The blob that I've seen at the last 3 tournaments now.
The bunker.
The bunker. It's ridiculous.
Stop trying to copy Custodes with the bunkering.
It's ridiculous, and all the things you can do with it. It's just,
All right.
Please get rid of that.
Anyways, back to the fortress.
Yeah.
I'd say the winner for the fortress is going to be the Magma Rail cannon.
Yeah, of course. No dispute.
You can also take these missile launchers if you want to replace the scanner, but I don't think you want to replace the scanner. What it does, it allows you to ignore light cover when you shoot.
That's nice.
Otherwise, you're going to have to pay extra to get a once per game
Light scanner's
attack.
5 points?
I believe so. I got to double check. It is free on the fortress.
Ooh.
Well-
So why would you get rid of it?
If you want a once per game ability to shoot something out of line of sight.
Okay.
I don't think it's worth it, honestly.
No?
These things can ignore line of sight, so meaning that they're going to get indirect fire debuffed. Is that right? And then it's just, that's it. You spent 10 points to just shoot
Just not worth it.
something.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It has scanner, so you can use that stratagem with the scanner
Exactly. So just keep it.
to give the judgment out. And then would that make the Magna Rail?
Isn't it? It's Searchlight. Searchlight
It's
is one that.
Searchlight,
yeah. Searchlight,
No,
yeah.
but scanner.
Oh,
Scanners meant for like rich mineral deposits.
it also, no. Oh, you're right.
I'm always right.
So that's
Don't
all
judge
the
me.
units. We've gone through all the units. It's a short list, obviously, but let's go into the 2 things that we were going to talk more about. Let's start with the warlord traits.
Okay.
There's not many. There's only 6. But I think a few of them are, like we were saying, we spoke about a few of them that we would take. The first one was, which one is it called? The one that's for the tech priest guy.
No, that's going to be for the upgrades for the
That's just his
characters.
upgrades on a warlord trait?
It is a warlord trait, but it's on a separate page here.
Okay, so that's for the
These are
characters.
like the base warlord traits for your
I
army
got you, I
that
got
are
you.
generic.
That's for the Forge Master, yes. So he would. So those are the named character ones, basically.
yeah, if you want to upgrade them to the Photonic Cancel, you get the option of taking warlord traits. But right now, you want to talk about the generic ones, right?
Let's just talk about the generic warlord traits now. Let's start with the first one. You want to talk about it? Go ahead.
Ancestral Bearing. Each time this warlord uses an ability in the command phase, add 3 inches to the range, and then increase the range of auras by 3 inches to a maximum of 12.
Yeah, that could be strong.
It is useful for your High Carl to give his command ability, make it 9 inches.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really like about the increasing in aura range, I do believe it could stack with the Ram Crest, which gives 5 up invuln to infantry and bikes.
Wow.
No? Oh, it cannot be increased. So
The Ram Crest specifically says it can never be increased for any reason.
okay, so never mind.
I got you back.
Okay, it's 1-1. You won this time. I'm going to win next time.
It's 1-1. Keeping the score.
But increasing auras,
Kind of worth it. For depends. I mean, depends what you want to do. Is that one you're going to take based on the other ones here? Maybe not.
I don't think. I do like the command ability thing, but when we're talking about like Hearthguard being able to teleport all around the place, I would rather just like keep everything knit close, like for damage dealers, and then move up like that, rather than spending CP. With how starved you're going to be with CP in this Nephilim. Think of the children.
Think of the children. So next one is Warrior Lord. Each time a Warlord makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the wound roll. Nice.
Put him on the Nth tier champion if you want to take him and do the whole melee blender thing.
You can do the blending.
But
it's pretty nice.
Let's see.
And also, in addition to that, each time a melee attack is made with this Warlord, it allocates, sorry, I can't read that, it's really small. Each time a melee attack is made with this Warlord, it allocated to an enemy model. That enemy model cannot use any rules to ignore the damage.
You know what this means?
The wounds it loses.
That Mortal Wound Hammer, feel no pains from Custodes, feel no pains from a medic, cannot ignore.
Yeah, nothing.
So those D3 plus 3 mortal wounds, you're going to eat those D3 plus 3 mortal wounds, and nothing can be done about it.
So that'll be really good on that, like you said, on that champion.
Yeah, he's going to become a very tanky missile.
So you can't use, so in addition, if he does those mortal wounds like we said, you can't even make saves, right?
Yeah, you can't do any feel no pains.
No 6-up feel no pains.
Emperor's Chosen, unfortunately, they ignore mortal wounds on 4+. You're just going to have to suck it up.
And something interesting here as well, it doesn't say specifically mortal wounds. It doesn't say specifically invulns. That would include demon saves. Right?
No, it says ignore the wounds it loses. So it would be like feel no pains type of thing.
So
Feel no pains and max capping.
So
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the
like max capping, yeah. So you can still do more damage. If it says, well, can only do 3 damage, you can go ahead of that, right? So you can kill Baharoth if you really wanted to.
You can kill Catans.
You can kill Catans.
Ooh.
But for am I wrong that you wouldn't be able to take saves against your like let's say Plague Bearers, for example, wouldn't be able to make their 5-ups? 5-up, 5-up. They wouldn't get to make their second 5-up.
They should be able to make the 5-up invuln or
Invuln.
demon save, because it's not saying ignore an armor save. It's saying ignore the negating damage.
The wounds it loses.
Yeah, it's a feel no pain.
So feel no pains. They wouldn't be able to take the 5-up.
They could take the demon save.
The
Because
demon
if you
save,
take
the demon saves, they would still get.
even their normal save, if the AP allows it,
Yeah.
because it's just the
So
invuln stops the damage.
the demon save would still go. They would still get it. They wouldn't get to make their 5-up feel no pain or whatever it was that Plague Bearers have now. I think it's still a 5-up. But yeah, so that's pretty good. And then the next one is we spoke about this one, didn't we?
A long list, and I'm looking at a long list of words here. 3 pointers. Every other thing is like 1 or 2. It is a long list.
Each time a Warlord makes a ranged attack, the target does not benefit from light cover against that attack. Each time the target for this Warlord or ranged attack, you can ignore the Lookout Sir rule, that's pretty good. Unit has 1 or more judgment token if they have 1 or more judgment tokens. And at the end of each phase, if an enemy unit with judgment tokens were destroyed during that phase, unit from your army select 1 enemy unit that is visible to the Warlord. That unit gains 1 judgment token. That is a huge, long Warlord trait, but look how many things it does.
The first 2 abilities aren't that
Just
impressive. Most characters are not going to have that amazing like weapons already for like ranged.
To do that
The third one,
is nice.
yeah, if something is killed, it doesn't have to be only the warlord killing them. The warlord says, okay, that one's done, check it off the list,
Yep.
you're next. You're next, I'm coming for you.
And you just give them one extra judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. You want to use the next one? Guild of Fate, that's number 4.
Yep, Guild Affiliate, this is the one
Affiliate.
I like. In the command phase, select one friendly League core unit within 6 inches of this warlord. It gains OBSEC. And if it already has OBSEC, it counts as another one. So, I mean, honestly, giving OBSEC and giving additional counts as models is useful for any unit. Say, for example, you have your Hearthguard somewhere, right beside the warlord, pop this on them, they can teleport somewhere else onto an objective or near an objective, charge something, you count as OBSEC now, and you count as an additional model. So you're most likely going to win. If you take the Greater Thurian League, now you count as what, a 3?
3.
So you're laughing on that objective. 3 models on that objective is counting as 9.
That's pretty good.
Anything that just gives OBSEC, fantastic.
That is nice. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That can stack really well with other things. And then it brings us to the next warlord trait. This is an aura, unrelenting toil. While a friendly core unit is performing an action within 6 inches of this warlord, that unit can shoot without an action feeling. So you turn them into
Dire Avengers.
Dire Avengers. You can make a unit shoot, do an action. That's always good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, like that's really nice. If you're objective capping and you want to put this on a unit that you're throwing out there, like we spoke about, teleporting those dudes around the Terminators. What are they called? The Hearthguard.
Yes.
You put this on a warlord that goes with them. Obviously, it's going to be the champion. All of a sudden, he's making them shoot. They can still shoot and do their actions. That's great. I love that off the bat. I'm going to try that against Anthony tomorrow.
That's
It's an aura. It's an aura, by the way. So
It's an aura. You
It's an
just
aura?
stick with them.
That's making me think of one thing. They have a stratagem where the unit cannot fail their action unless they shoot or charge, and they get a feel no pain. Would that still let them shoot, and they can't fail the action no matter what?
Yeah, because it says one friendly unit that is within 6 inches of this warlord, that unit can shoot without that action failing.
I think the name of the stratagem is the Luck Toils, or like, yeah, it's like Luck Toils, something takes, whatever.
We'll get there. We're going to look at the stratagems next, but
That
yeah,
could stack
we'll keep
well
an eye
with
on
that.
And then the last one is pretty good. Again, it's an aura. While a friendly core unit is within 6 inches of this warlord, that unit can ignore all modifiers to leadership. And each time a combat action, attrition test is taken, that unit can ignore all modifiers.
this one's a bit weak.
I
think it's very weak.
I don't see use for this one unless, you're trying to stack, I don't know. Just make more leadership for your army. The leadership is going to be an issue for, they have, some of the units have 7 leadership. But I don't think, for what we have here for other warlord traits, that's probably the weakest one. Yeah.
Yes.
And then do you want to talk about the specific ones for our Lord Grimnir and Forge Master?
Sure. So if you do get these upgrades, your characters can take this warlord trait separately.
Yeah.
For the super call, the high call, in each it's experience die. In each of your command phases, this warlord can use the Grim Efficiency ability twice. But if you select, it has to select an enemy unit that has not already been affected by this ability. So you get basically put 2 judgment tokens on 2 different units, or a judgment token on 2 different units
Is this
per
the
turn.
high call?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you take that warlord trait.
Yeah.
Lord Grimnir, we didn't really talk too much about him. To go into more detail about him, if you do upgrade your Grimnir to a Lord Grimnir, he can manifest 1 additional psychic power per phase. That's part of the 25 points you're paying. There are ancestral judgments with each of these models. For example, the Lord Grimnir. Each time a Lord Grimnir manifests a psychic power with this skin rot discipline, which is what they have. If there are any models within any units within 18 inches of the Lord Grimnir model with 1 or more judgment tokens, add 1 to the psychic test.
Wow.
Pretty good. And then the warlord trait is add 6 inches to the range of psychic powers for their discipline.
6 inches?
Yes.
Nice.
And then the Forge Master, I think we already talked about that one already.
We did.
basically heal 3 wounds automatically.
Yeah, automatic 3, which becomes 4 because they have the robots with them.
Yes, if they're alive.
If
And
they're
then
alive, yeah.
once per battle round, you know, if a failed save roll
Yep.
is made for a vehicle or an exoframe, it becomes 0 damage.
I really, 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 really like that one for the named ones, the Forge Master. Absolutely. What do you think out of all 3 of those?
I like the Forge Master. He's got a really good one.
Yeah, Forge Master is definitely a must-take because the automatic 4 healing, plus you can string out that unit and have them all, like you said, you can give +1 to hit in shooting, right? So one unit will have +1 to shoot, and then you string them out, all 5 whatever models are in that unit, and the other one would be getting healed. So we're all good with that. That's Warlord traits. Do you want to talk about a little bit the relics? There's a bunch of relics in here. Anything stand out to you here from the relics?
There's one.
Ancestral Crest. We have, we spoke about the weapon, the one that turns it into mortal wounds.
Yes.
And that one's called the, what's that called?
It is the Exactor.
Exactor. There it is.
That's just for melee blending.
Yeah. So it would just change your champion's weapon to do same amount of damage, just be mortal wounds.
On a, yep, on a
On 6s, yeah.
hit roll of 6.
And that would end that attack. So not bad. What about the first knife?
Knife?
Knife.
Knife?
You call that a knife?
A knife?
That's not a knife.
It's a little bit better. Oh, actually, it's not that bad.
It's pretty good.
Each time the bear fights, it makes 1 additional attack. If the attack scores a hit, a target suffers D3 mortal wounds plus 1 additional mortal wound per judgment token they have. So you could potentially do up to 6 if you have them loaded up with judgment tokens.
Which we will be spamming that. Remember, judgment tokens will be everywhere.
But it is only on the Call or a Grimnir. So
Okay.
you will have to be a little bit more aggressive. Like, of course, you can play them multiple ways. I wouldn't take it because my guys are more supportive than, you know, aggressive type of characters.
Right.
Another one,
Yeah, go for it.
I do like the Aktal's Fortress in case you do take a shield crest.
You find it?
It's on the first page.
Okay.
At the start of the fight phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer. That unit is not eligible to fight until everyone else is fought.
Yeah.
Overall, like as a general utility
it's
ability,
great.
that's just useful.
It's always useful. It's just your basic fight last mechanic. This one's all right. The Tyrkanite plate. Did I say that right? You're the dwarf expert over here.
Thrikite plate?
Okay.
Thrikite. Thrikite.
That's what it is. This relic can't be used by an exo armor model, but you get +1 to the armor save throw made for the bearer, and you get add 1 to the bearer's wound characteristic. So you can make your character a little more beefy, make him more of a salamander, just take a little more damage.
I think it's okay. I honestly think it's okay.
Alright, yeah. But if you combo that with toughness as well, now he's really beefy. And you add 1 to the saving throw. Your 3 up
Comes a 2 up.
comes 2 up. Can you make a 2 up a 1 up?
It says add 1 to the saving throw, so
Yeah.
I assume.
So 2 up would become a 1 up. You just get your bonus save on that. So that's pretty good. You're always in cover.
It's a relic.
It's not bad. They might reword that to a maximum of 2. What do you think? Is that a mistake here that we found? You're giving a champion which has a 2 up already a 1 up.
Storm shields exist.
I know, but
Storm shields
that's
exist.
true.
The Terminator captain with the storm shield says
Yeah.
hi.
So it's basically an invisible storm shield,
Yes.
and then you get +1 to your wounds
Yep.
as
So
well.
if you're sitting in cover, you have a 0 up save.
You have a 0 save. Yeah, you can put this guy in cover, and his 2 up goes to a 0 up.
Yep. This is for the
He's a tank.
end here champion.
Do you want to talk about the Grey Crest?
Which one is that
Shield
one?
models. Shield Crest models only. The character model, and each time an attack is made against the bear, units subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. And the bear character, each time an attack is made against that bear, until the attacker attacker is more than 12 inches away, subtract 1 from the attack's hit rolls.
So the first thing is you need to take a shield crest. The second thing is it has to be taken on, like there's a stratagem that allows you a sergeant to take it. So it's really limited to Hearthkin warriors and what was it? The Hearthguard.
Hearthguard, yeah.
Because not many other things in this codex do have sergeants. I do see this being very useful if you're taking a backline Hearthkin warrior unit of the basic infantry, maybe a 20-man block with a medic. As they're moving up, you know, you're -1 hit against basic infantry now. I think that's really good for them. In terms of Hearthguard units, you're probably planning to keep them close anyways.
Yeah.
So probably not the best use of it. I think this is more for a big block of Hearthkin.
Yeah. If the bearer is a character model, each time an attack is made against the bearer, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. If the bearer is not a character model, you have to be more than 12 inches away.
Yeah. So for characters, melee and shooting, you get -1 to hit.
Yeah, -1. Yeah.
But this one only applies for shooting if it's over 12 inches, which is it's pretty good.
It's not bad. Let's go into the stratagems, because I think the relics are just like they're there. Everybody can check them out. Those are some of the better ones. Like I said, one of the best ones is that one we talked about to make your melee blender there. But let's get into the stratagems. Do you want to talk about the first couple?
All right, accelerated response. Use a stratagem in your movement phase when a Votann accelerated unit from your army is selected to advance. It basically moves 12 inches. No need to roll anything.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking at it, does the land fortress have accelerated?
Can you make that land fortress just?
So that land fortress is going to go 22 inches if you need it.
Oh my god.
It's very good for bikes, moving 24 inches.
For sure.
Even the Sagatar is going to be just bum rushing your opponent.
Yep.
I think that's a funny one. I like that one.
Hunter's Mark's the next one. Stratagem, use this using the shooting phase before making a hit roll for attacks, Votann models from your army. If that target has 1 or more judgment tokens, do not make a hit roll for that attack. It automatically hits the target.
It's going to be good for things like Magna Rail. It's only for 1 attack, so
just 6 automatic.
Yes.
So Hunter's Mark is good. It's only 1 CP. But in Nephilim, it is pretty expensive nowadays. But like we said, this army can generate like 3 CP a turn, right? So not that bad.
Not bad. The next one here is, this one is Fury the First, Votann edition. Use a stratagem in the shooting phase when an end hero unit is selected to shoot or selected to fight. Add 1 to the attack hit roll. So legit Fury the First. They're legit Terminators.
Yeah. The kin bond is a pretty good one as well. Use the stratagem at the start of the fight phase. So you want to use it at the start of the fight phase. Be careful for that wording at the beginning of the stratagems. Come into play at tournaments as well. Select 1 enemy unit that is within engagement range of 2 or more Votann core units for your army. Until the end of the phase, each time a Votann core model makes a melee attack against an enemy unit, you can re-roll the wound roll. There's a lot to that to make that happen.
Yeah, it's too many conditions.
Yeah, and it's 2 CP. I mean, it is good, but look how much has to come in. I mean, if the stars align for you and you need it, and you're in close combat and you need to get some rerolls, maybe. But I wouldn't be relying on this or worrying about this. It's not going to be a core part of it unless you're bunching them up. I don't know.
Lots of berserks.
Yeah, berserkers, I guess. Yeah.
This one is pretty good. Mag Riders. Use this strat in your opponent's shooting phase when a Votann biker unit is selected as a target. Subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. If the unit's advanced, they cannot be rerolled. That's pretty good for 1 CP. Yep.
One person's asking, the last one, that Fury the First stratagem, does that affect both shoot and hit roll? Does it affect just shoot or hit?
It's both. What do you mean, like shoot or melee?
I'm not sure. The exact wording of the question is, does that affect both shoot or hit roll?
It applies to the shooting phase or the fight phase. So you add 1 to the attack's hit roll.
Yeah.
Because he said Fury the First is just +1 to hit with attack for Tourney.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. Like it's the same principle.
Fury the First, is that a stratagem?
For Space Marines. It's
Space
you know how your Terminators, you can get them +1 to hit in shooting or +1 to hit in melee?
Yeah.
That's just basically the same idea summed up in this stratagem.
It's +1 to hit. So basically it would apply to any phase, yeah.
So
Is that what he was asking?
I think so.
Yeah. If he knows any different, then yeah, tell him to share it.
Aside from that, there's one.
That's the way I know of it.
This other one here. Luck has no keeps, no toil earns, I think. Luck has no keeps, toil earns.
Okay.
Select a unit, a Votann infantry unit that's within range of an objective marker until the next movement phase. While this unit is within range of that objective marker,
Lots of conditions.
you automatically pass morale tests.
Wow.
Unless that unit makes a ranged attack or declares a charge, that unit can ignore any rules that would cause any actions that are performing to fail. And each time a model in that unit would lose a wound on a 6+, it's a shrug.
Wow.
So I do believe there are some abilities like Eldar a psychic power that can make you stop capping objectives or stop doing actions.
No cap.
So this is basically there to tell Eldar, get out of my mind, stop it, stop, we're doing something here.
Here's a copyright infringement, maybe. Legend of the League.
Wait, what? Legend of the League?
There's Legend of the League here. I think it's just like a command phase. It's a requisition stratagem. So,
Two warlord traits on a character.
Yeah, that's basically all that is. We don't need to get into that. That's basic for all armies. Do you want to go into Mag Riders, or did you talk about that?
I already talked about that one.
Talk about Mag Riders.
This one's fun one.
Familial Loyalty. Use the stratagem in your opponent's charge phase. Select one Votann infantry or Votann bike unit. At the end of the phase, is eligible to perform a heroic intervention if it was a character.
So useful for berserks if you somehow.
If it was a character. So let me just enlarge this so I can read it. But this is great because you can, if you have Termies close or you have berserkers close, you can just you can keep people from engaging with something that you don't want to be charged.
Yes.
Just put them close or hide them close to a vehicle or something. And if someone's trying to tie up your vehicle, it'll be like, no. We're going to wipe these guys out. We have some guys right around the corner. That's very useful. I love that stratagem, actually.
Light 'em up is the one we're talking about with searchlights.
Yeah.
After a unit with the searchlight ability has resolved its attacks, select one unit that has been scored a hit against. They get a judgment token.
Nice. Simple and easy. Outflanking pioneers. You want to talk about this? Because I think Anthony did this yesterday.
Yep. As long as you select a Hearthkin unit, Hearthkin Pioneers unit that is more than 6 inches away from your enemy models and within 6 inches of a battlefield edge, they immediately go back to strategic reserves. They cannot return the same time that they went back into reserve, but you just take them off and they just come back later on in the game. It's good if you want to do it like, because this isn't affected by the core rules strategic reserves, where you need to, like, turn 3, they're gone.
Right.
If you put something back into strategic reserves during the game, they can come back any turn of the game as long as it's not turn 5, and you just leave them there, in which case they're destroyed.
Not bad at all. Moving on to a Land Fortress one, we have Bastion Running. Basically lets your Land Fortress function at full tier.
Yep.
So if you get tiered down, pop 1 CP, you can shoot at full tier.
Yep.
Is this that useful though? Because if you're saying you can just use that ability with your call and make him auto wound on a 6, you don't even need this.
This is more of just keeping him moving and keeping him.
The speed. If you
and then every other weapon, like this Land Fortress has a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. What?
The automatic 6 is for the Thurian League.
Thurian League, yeah.
So if you go someone else.
If you go someone else, yeah, it could be useful. But Thurian League, yeah, you wouldn't need that to reroll. I mean, sorry, you wouldn't need to be functioning at full level unless you want to move a lot farther.
Hey, it's really important for some games where if it's really tight, Land Fortress is still alive. You need to get that last. If you do take engage all fronts or like something like that, it's really important to do that. And here's one fun one: Newfound Nemesis. Use this stratagem when a Votann Warlord or Grimnir model is destroyed. The enemy unit that destroyed it gains 2 judgment tokens.
Wow.
If it's a Grimnir, it gains 3. That escalated quickly with that death of the guy.
So there's the combat surgery. You can basically break like the surgeon in Death Guard. You can heal D3 or bring back a dead model.
Yep, it's the only thing I think that has medic is the Hearthkin warriors.
Wait, up to D3 destroyed models are returned to that unit.
Because their Hearthkin are 1 wound each.
That's right. Yeah. So this is only used on the. It doesn't say. It just says unit. Use this stratagem in your command phase when selecting a Votann medic unit from your army.
But it needs to have that medic keyword.
Oh, so it's just going to be those guys.
Yeah, it has to have that keyword. So
okay.
I believe it's only the Hearthkin warriors.
So you can't bring 3 D3 bikes back.
Oh, I wish they could do that. Get back on your bike.
Just like, wait.
Just throw him back on the bike.
How broken is this?
Pump him with stims.
Okay. Fix that bike. Then you have Grimrot Barrier. Use a stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 Votann unit from your army within 9 inches of the friendly Grimnar model. That unit and its models contains stop being affected by any psychic powers, so you can negate all the psychic powers on that unit. And until the start of your next command phase, that unit and models contained in that affected by any malediction, psychic powers manifested. So just psychic shenanigans, like ignoring stuff.
So you know that Doom, all that, was it Doom, Unlucky, or whatever it is? I don't care about that.
Doesn't that already not affect them? Because you can't reroll wounds.
What's the other one? Guide. Oh,
well, Guide is on my unit. It would be stuff like
I don't even know.
maledictions. Like I would think it would be more like Death Guard doing things to you, like Chaos doing things to you. Eldar pretty much is Doom.
Which these guys already ignore.
Huh?
Doom doesn't matter. Doom is reroll its wound, right?
Ignored, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Then you have stuff like Concussion Blast. Selected enemy unit can't fire Overwatch or set to defend. Each time a model is selected and an enemy unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the attack hit rolls.
What has this? Is it the Is it the Hearthguard they come with it? Hearthguard come with it.
Yeah, they just come with it.
No, Hearthkin, sorry.
Hearthkin.
Hearthkin are the ones that come with it.
There's some really nice ones here. We have honestly, you have to read all through these, but we're going through most of them. The ones that would really matter for you to use you can have the move characteristic of a model and a targeted. Anybody can target this. Stubborn Explosion. Oh, this is for not a Titanic and cannot fly. That unit. I don't think a lot of these are like useful for the way you're going to play this list.
Yeah.
Like, the ones we're talking about here are probably where you're going to go. You're going to be dealing with like more tanky units. You want to keep your bikes alive. You want to keep guys. Do we have battle stims in this? No.
Battle stims?
Can the medic pump guys up and like make them stronger and stuff like that?
No.
Okay, that would have been nice.
But
to have stratagems like
a lot of these strats are what other armies had, and they're making me jealous. I remember when Thunderfire cannons could do what subterranean explosives did with having the movement. Not anymore.
That is all. That is definitely done.
There's one more good one that I was thinking of.
We were talking about it today.
A lot of these war gear stratagems, they are a little bit expensive, but with the Forge Master, if you make him a Super Forge Master, you get to subtract 1 from the cost for once per battle round.
Yep, and you want to talk about site-to-site transport?
We touched about that a little bit before.
Yeah,
so
just go over that.
A unit that has the teleportation keyword. So your Hearthguard that took the teleportation crest, Calls that took it, or any other unit that could take it.
Yep.
You can remove them from the battlefield, and on that same turn, put them back on the field.
Yeah, 9 inches away.
9 inches away.
And this is one or 2 CP depending on the unit size, I'm guessing, right?
If it's a character, it's 1.
Oh.
If it's a unit that's not a character, it's 2.
So now this is a lot more expensive than I thought.
But with the Forge Master, you can reduce it down to 1. Ooh. And I don't see why you would not take the Forge Master for 25 extra points.
Does he just have to be on the field?
Yes.
Wow.
And you do it once per battle round. So that Hearthguard unit
CP.
Is going to be like, you only need to spend 1 CP rather than 2.
So 0 CP, 1 CP? Wow.
Correct. So if you want that call moving around and he has the teleportation crest rather than...
That is really nice. That's going to be used a lot. That is for sure a key strat. And what about the overcharged shield crest?
Another one where you need to have the crest keyword. So Hearthguard units, it becomes a transhuman for shooting only. It does not apply to melee as it says in the wording. If the unit contains 5 or fewer models, it's only 1 CP cost, but if it's larger, it's 2. That's where the Iron Master comes in, just like keeps giving you discounts.
Okay, I mean, that is it. That's all the strats. We've spoken about the abilities and what the leagues do. We've made some combos. We kind of see where things are coming together. We just need to play this more now.
Yep.
We need to play this more. We're gonna play a few games tomorrow and see where we're at. Anthony's gonna play again tonight because there's so many things you can do with this. It's honestly endless. Join us tomorrow though. We are gonna have a tier ranking. We're gonna be ranking all these guys. And putting them where we think they'll be in match play and tournament play. And are they S tier? Who's going to be an S tier? Who's don't take? We'll find out tomorrow.
Tomorrow or Friday?
Tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow at, it's going to be an earlier one at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. Talk to you guys later. Anything else you want to say about the Votann?
I've been banished to Dwarf Hell.
Banished to Dwarf Hell. For a short codex, that went pretty well. It went pretty long, but I enjoyed it.
Codex. Yeah.
We went through a lot of detail for these little guys.
Yep, that was really good. That's it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. We are Northern Knights Gaming. We're going to be doing a tier ranking of the Votann tomorrow on the last day of Votann, the week of Votann. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Peace out.
We'll see you next time.
Later.
The dwarves.
Space dwarves.
Is it cut?